What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to the show. Pre-show, anyway.
Still want to test drive the car first? No problem. Schedule a test drive at any time. You're happy to help in person at any point. The Lock Money Fast Lane.
Hey, thanks for the tip on the Judicial Watch thing, Alex. I hadn't looked at their website today yet.
This is a last chance alert. It's happening. In just days, Publishers Clearinghouse will award $5,000 a week forever. Enter now at PCH.com.
All right.
Plus, after that, $5,000 a week for life for someone who chooses. $5,000 a week.
What's up, Daniel, Mike, Frank, Alex, Streambot, Speed, Joffrey, Kathy, Restream. Hey, Speed, this weekend might work if you're up for it. If not, that's cool too.
This is Carl on his motorcycle.
Also, wood is very different than teak. Here's the two.
On his motorcycle.
Hey, check out that view!
On his motorcycle.
Let's do puzzles in the break room.
On.
Look at all that open road!
Off.
Look how long my fingernails are getting.
You're better on your bike. Progressive helps keep.
What's up, David? Where you been, man? Haven't seen you in the building lately. You missed that really cool piece that was given to me yesterday. Oh, that one came from him? Cool. Appreciate it. All right. Here we go. South Bend Police Department. And hold on, I'm just checking my audio here real quick. There we go. That should work. All right. So, 127 pages. This is all with the South Bend Police Department. It shows that the department offered diversity training in 2017, which includes a cultural competence rating for personnel. Cultural competence rating for personnel. Okay. This is interesting. Just follow me down the rabbit hole here, okay? The training material also names various classes of prejudice, including languageism and sizeism. So languageism and sizeism. The mayor of South Bend at the time was, of course, Pete Buttigieg, who you may have heard is running for president. South Bend Police Department training material claims that all personnel have a measurable cumulative perceptual index, or a CPI rating, which measures their cultural competence. This sounds an awful lot like, and I know that I might be overstepping here, and I'm sure that I'll get some people from the department that contact me and you know, kind of try and set me straight on this, but it sounds an awful lot like China's social score. I mean, obviously, it's not the exact same thing. It's just the CPI theory posits that our behaviors and biases today may well be rooted in our individual measurable CPI rating, according to the training material. Its base assertion is that we all have been exposed to bigotry and biases at various stages of our lives. What and with what level of intensity those exposures took place is an important variable in our past, current, and future interpersonal interactions. One thing that the CPI theory holds certain is that none of us were born with prejudices and biases. It also posits that all of us have had some prejudice or bias get dispelled in some way over time, and it is that factor that can facilitate measurable adjustments in our CPI ratings. I thought it was considered racist now to say that everybody has some bigotry in them, because I thought that only one group of people now can have that. In the South Bend Police Department anti-discrimination police training materials, one slide under the title "The Future of Policing" notes that Black lives do indeed matter, but no more and certainly no less than the lives of every community within law enforcement's jurisdiction. Also true, okay? The perceptual proof of that belief is unquestionably not universally present today because such a vision is not yet universally shared by law enforcement. Wow. That's an interesting theory. The perceptual proof of that, meaning that everybody's lives are equal, the perceptual proof of that belief is unquestionably not universally present today because such a vision is not yet universally shared by law enforcement. So, am I to understand the way that Judicial Watch has framed this? Am I to understand that they believe Black lives matter, but no more or less than anybody else's lives, but that they're saying police departments, law enforcement doesn't universally share that view? It sounds a lot like Pete Buttigieg giving a speech somewhere about the SBPD. The SBPD's diversity workshop creators have deemed the term deaf and dumb to be offensive. What? Okay. Implying that if an individual lacks the sense of hearing, they are therefore intellectually deficient. That's not even what it implies. Okay? When you say somebody is deaf and dumb, you're not implying that their inability to be able to hear makes them intellectually deficient. No, you're not listening to me. That's what it means now, okay? Maybe at some point in time, decades ago, it meant something else, but no, that's not what it means to the vast majority of people who use the term deaf and dumb. This definition completely ignores the historical meaning of the word dumb in this context, which is mute or unable to speak. Another supposedly inappropriate and offensive term is hearing impaired. Hearing impaired is now offensive? We can't say that? So we went from you can't say deaf, now you can't say hearing impaired. It apparently implies that their hearing is broken and needs to be fixed. No, it implies that it's impaired, as in it's not up to standard levels for whatever reason. That might be an injury, genetics, what have you. The term racism/colorism is, per their definition, an attitude, action, or practice emphatically backed by institutional power. What? I just when you see poppycock, you know poppycock, and that's what we're dealing with. This is gobbledygook, poppycock, whatever you want to say. I mean, this is asinine, is what this is. Judicial Watch obtained the records as a response to a June 27, 2019 Access to Public Records Act request. They were seeking complaints against the SBPD related to bias of any kind from 2015 to current, and they were also seeking the SBPD policy documents relating to discrimination on any basis. These documents show how South Bend police under Mayor Buttigieg had to contend with politicizing training that had nothing to do with the public safety, according to Tom Fitton, who's the president of Judicial Watch. These are just people who want to make the street safer. They just want to go to work. They want to help their fellow citizen. They want to make the community better. They want to make a living doing it. They don't want to get rich doing it. Otherwise, they wouldn't go into law enforcement, especially in South Bend. Actually, in Michiana in general, law enforcement doesn't get paid too much. So you go there and you're just beat over the head with, look, you're a cop and therefore institutionally you're racist. And law enforcement just doesn't believe that black lives are equal to everybody else. Now, of course, if you go out there and you espouse that you believe that black lives are equal to everybody else, you'll also be called a racist because you're not allowed to say that all lives matter, because all lives matter is really racist against black people. This is the type of crap that came out of Mayor Pete's administration. And you wonder why the city of South Bend has struggled in certain areas over the past several years. And I know that we talked about the numbers-based policing and all of that other stuff, which, can have a place if done appropriately, but we've gotten away from this community-based policing. And part of the reason that you could argue that we've gotten away from this community-based policing is because it seems to be that the police department was directed to be separate from the community. You're not really a part of the community. In fact, you're all kind of, biased and bigoted, and you all have this bigotry that's ingrained in you. And you weren't born with it. You learned it somewhere, but all of you learned it, at least a little bit. And you've got to deal with it. So we've got this whole CPI score that we're going to go ahead and give you. And this will judge whether or not you are bigoted in certain areas and to what degree. Just let them catch bad guys. How about that? When they step out of line, you take the appropriate action, because it does happen. But other than that, give them the tools they need to constitutionally and legally be able to perform the duties that they have been tasked with doing on a volunteer basis. Keep in mind, they chose to be law enforcement for a reason. And this type of nonsense doesn't do any good whatsoever. None. Doesn't do any good. But this is the propaganda that the police force has been having to deal with over the past couple of years. We've got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Your breaking news weather station. Weather sponsored by
Yeah, I forgot to select the source for my line in when I plugged in. Sorry, folks.
Impress coming out of the break.
Hey.
today, with temperatures warming up to 46 degrees. Full time dropped down to 28 for the overnight low. Wednesday, we'll talk to mostly cloudy skies, but we are going to see a high of 42 degrees and a chance for rain and possibly winter wind during the afternoon. Even some briefly lake effect snow shower possible Wednesday night as colder air moves in. Temperatures will fall from 30 degrees on Thursday, but we'll at least see some sunshine. We're still holding near 30 for Friday with mostly cloudy skies. We'll also see a chance for some snow and possibly wintry mix as we head towards Friday night into sunny Saturday morning. For Saturday, we'll have a snow.
To the email I go.
In the 1857 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Elizabeth Kennedy.
Let's just say it like deaf, dumb, or blind. It has nothing to do with your physical capabilities or being disabled or bias against being disabled. It has to do with you're not listening to what I'm saying. You're not paying attention to the rules. Why is it that you can't understand this? And it is what it is, folks.
I'm Dan Crispin. I've been a painter all my life. Well, I think it's just in my blood. I love to paint. I really do. People are not a big fan of having their house work for a long period of time. That's why I think we come in and we have a larger crew. So our bedroom or our great room is not taking us 3 days.
What's up, Anthony? How you doing? Just haven't bumped into me. You missed that the thing that Darren gave me yesterday, man. That thing was awesome. It's really cool. You can see pictures of it on Facebook if you want to take a look at it. Hey, Virginia, how you doing?
Well, it's just nice to stand back and see what we started as, and then look and see what the finished product was.
Doom Eternal looks really pretty.
What's that?
Doom Eternal looks really pretty.
Oh, I finally saw the trailer for Morbius today.
If I put my name on the job, I want it to be a good product. It should last. Conference Championship Week is here. 4 teams, 2 games, so little time left in the season.
I also put in a media request for Judicial Watch to bring them on and talk about this issue, so maybe we'll have them on at some point this week.
Star player to score the first touchdown of the game with 10-1 odds. Doesn't get any better than that.
Yep, it was made of wood. That was all wood, dude. Has backlighting on it and everything. It's awesome.
Use code WTRC for a limited time. All new users can get a sign-up bonus up to $1,000. That's right, DraftKings Sportsbook is going all out with a sign-up bonus up to $1,000. That's code WTRC to get your sign-up bonus up to $1,000. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. 21 or older, Indiana only. Bonus comprised of the first deposit bonus.
What was that?
Jim Turner.
Deposit bonus requires 25 times playthrough. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gateway problem, call 1-800-9-HOPE.
Start using Project and save big money. Now stop at any car store and check out our huge selection of indoor furniture. Bringing big items every month absolutely free with any self-purchase.
A lot of local news today. I'm spoiled. He came up to me at Noise and he's like, "Hey man, I make like wood art and stuff, and I would like your logo. Can I get your logo?" I'm like, "Sure." And I just kept forgetting about it, and I finally sent it to him a couple weeks later. And I was expecting like him to make some tiny little thing. And I show up yesterday and Taylor's like, "Yo, I got some things for you." A few listeners had dropped off some stuff. And she picked up this huge giant wood thing. I'm like, "What the hell is that?" And yeah, so it was really awesome though.
The classic pizza poppin' pins combo for just $35.
What's up, Susie?
Up over 40%. You can be part of the best deals in Michiana at mydealsmichiana.com. That's mydealsmichiana.com.
Introducing Long John Silver's $10 C-Share. Pick up our 6-piece fish, 9-piece chicken, 15-piece shrimp, or 6 crab plates.
I think I might save that for
This year.
30. All right, here we go. Yep.
Your top stories, traffic and weather, weekday mornings 5 till 9 on 95.3 MNC.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Again, if you want to watch the live stream, we are up and running again this week. I know that it's been a couple of weeks since we did it. Haven't live streamed since before my vacation, before Christmas, but it is back. If you want to watch the live stream, go to youtube.com/Casey the host. Please subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up on the channel as well. That helps with the YouTube algorithm. And if you are on Twitch, which you should be because Twitch is awesome anyway, go to twitch.tv/Casey the host. If you're on both, just subscribe to both channels. That would be great. All right. I got to tell you about Impress Jewelry Creations. So I was in Impress Jewelry Creations the other day. I was talking with Bill, and he was showing me some amazing pieces that he has. And, they're really working to improve some of the artisan, one-of-a-kind stuff for men. They've got, obviously, all of this amazing stuff that they're doing for everybody, but he's got this men's collection. I've told you about the knives and the pens and the money clips and things like that in the past, and he continues to get new versions of those. In fact, there's really good rasp knives that are in there, and if you're not familiar with rasp knives, they look phenomenal, so definitely go check those out at Impress Jewelry Creations. But he's doing a lot of belts, and these are custom belts. So you get these exotic high-end leathers, shark, snake, various things, crocodile, alligator, all of those things. And they have, these silver buckles. And then what they're doing is they're buying the belt, and then they are getting custom engraving done on the buckle. So it's a really amazing gift. And these are belts that are going to last you 20 years, maybe even more, not the throwaway belts that most of us use. So just a phenomenal gift idea if you're trying to find something for the guy out there. And you know what? We need belts. And a lot of guys don't like bling. They don't wear the necklaces or the bracelets, and some people don't even wear the watches and things like that anymore. But everybody has a belt, and most guys like having a nice belt. They don't like a junky belt. So this gives you an option to get a really high-end belt that is going to last, is going to be stylish with everything, and then also get it personalized and customized so it's a one-of-a-kind belt that nobody else has, without being too big, too flashy. So it's just enough flair to let people know that that you've got something nice on you without being obnoxious about it, right? And here's the thing, if you want to talk to Impress Jewelry Creations about, creating a one-of-a-kind, unique piece just for you that tells your unique story, or if you want to go ahead and find some of the pieces that they've already made or some of the amazing manufacturers that they do carry. But again, the IJC line is a phenomenal line, one-of-a-kind custom pieces that you can't get anywhere else. And, part of that ability comes from having 4 goldsmiths right there in the shop. Most jewelry stores would kill to be able to have a goldsmith. 1. Impress has 4 on staff. They've got over 100 years of experience. So all of that stuff is done right there. They don't need to take your family heirlooms if you're going to get them modified or upgraded. They don't need to ship them out to third parties. They can handle all of that work in-house. And it's just phenomenal. I was also talking with Bill about there's a lot of guys that are doing upgrades to their wedding bands. And it's something that I've considered as well. And, styles change, tastes change, and you don't have to be stuck with a wedding band that you find less than amazing, all right? But it means a lot to you. So what they can do is they can actually melt down your wedding band, and they can make an inlay that touches your skin on a new band. So your old wedding band is still there, is closest to your skin, to your body, touches your body all the time, while on the outside, you have the new upgraded design. It's a phenomenal compromise for those who want to upgrade their wedding band, but maybe they don't want to go ahead and get rid of it altogether because of the sentimental value. It's phenomenal. They do that in a whole host of other things. Go to ImpressJewelers.com, learn more about Bill Martin and the crew over there at Impress Jewelry Creations, and then, of course, visit them. They're in University Plaza right next to Temper Grill and C. Kramer Interiors. And when you go to Impress Jewelry Creations, make sure you let them know that I sent you. All right, 574-2595, 95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. New announcement today, just a couple of hours ago. Common Council member Jake Teshka has announced that he's going to run for Indiana House of Representatives. Now, he just won re-election in the Common Council. He's the only Republican on the Common Council. He just won that re-election. Current South Bend Common Council member Jake Teshka announced that he is running to represent District 7 for the Indiana House of Representatives. Residents of the House District 7 need an effective state representative who can work across the aisle and fight for their needs, Teshka said in a news release. My experience on city council has taught me that we need leaders who listen before they speak, and I will do just that. Currently, Ross Deal, who's a Democrat, is in that district. Teshka is a lifelong resident of St. Joseph County, graduating from St. Joseph High School, then earning a degree at St. Joseph's College before obtaining his master's in public administration degree from Indiana University South Bend. This is, again, he just won re-election for the South Bend Common Council. I've reached out to Jake, and I know Jake, and I've known him for a while. He actually worked here for a short period of time. So there's some questions that I have about what happens, should he have to resign his position on the Common Council and things like that. I'm not entirely familiar about how all that works out. And I also wanted to ask him if his timing would benefit that seat in retaining the only Republican on the council, as opposed to just choosing not to run for re-election this time around. And of course, you're going to have some people in his district that are going to be pretty upset. He wins that re-election, and right after he wins re-election, boom, he announces that he's running for another office. And so I'm sure that there's going to be several people who are a bit uneasy about that, probably a little upset. If I hear from Jake, we'll be able to go ahead and ask him about those particular things and maybe get some answers to that. But there could be an overall strategy here to try and help. Now, with that said, I think that he would probably be a decent representative in the Indiana legislature. So don't get me wrong, it's that obviously there's going to be people in his district that are going to have some serious questions about the timing of all of this. But it is still, I don't know. I can understand why people are upset about it. There might be a strategy behind it. Again, being the only Republican on the council, winning that re-election here recently, and then just like that kind of jumping ship is going to rub some people the wrong way. But strategy-wise, it might actually be a benefit to the Republican Party in that district. We'll have to ultimately see what ends up happening with this. But as far as Jake Teshka, if you were to win in the Indiana legislature, I think he'd be a fine representative. It's just a matter of what will happen on the Common Council should Jake Teshka be able to win that race and then have to resign from the Common Council. That's where the interesting questions lie. And to be perfectly honest with you, anytime you're a Republican in South Bend at all, the likelihood of longevity in any public office is not exactly confidence inspiring. So there's always that. And if this is going to be his career path, then he's got to make the best decisions for his career. But did reach out to him. I did not expect to hear from him before the show today. So if I do hear from him, I will go ahead and do my best to get him on and talk about it and have a sit down and a chat, because I think it's quite an interesting development here locally for politics, which could have, state impact as well. We've got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station, MNC.
Boy. Rush is endorsing CBD now. Everybody is, man. Everybody's doing CBD now. Look, it works. Simple reality is CBD works. Now, there are variations in quality of CBD, but CBD works. Can you cue up my audio, please? Yeah.
Experimenting outside church regulations to determine if they want to maintain the lifestyle. Tracy also said Rome Springer is not a built-in excuse. Those teens are held equally as liable as anyone else. He also says local law
Dan, if you're so, the Indiana House Democratic Caucus says the bill has been introduced 7 times.
All right. Cool. That audio is actually seamless and awesome. Thank you, Fox59, for not cocking up your audio.
They are recalling nearly 700,000 vehicles in the U.S. because the fuel pumps can fail and cause engines to stall. That can increase the risk of a crash. The recall covers certain 2018 and 2019.
Let's see. Casey, how much security is involved with the president going to the national championship? An ass ton.
Everywhere he goes.
I mean, anywhere he goes, but if you're, anytime you're at a public venue like that, a stadium, there's a lot. Alex posted a Confederate flag story that has something close to Casey's logo. Really? Is that on Discord? People are copying my stuff. I got that trademark, boo.
I'm not in the prediction business, but I can bet that when the time comes, Leader McConnell will say, "We've heard enough. The trial shouldn't drag on anymore."
Ah, look at that. He's just got a typical Jolly Roger over the rebel flag.
Bringing home tonight an apparent infighting between Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren's campaign. Pete Buttigieg, Amy Klobuchar, and Tom Steyer also making the debate. Fox's Jeff Manasso in Des Moines. America is listening to Fox News.
I mean, there's a meaning behind my logo, so. Thank you, Lamar. Appreciate it. Yeah, I typically wear a belt even when I don't need to, for various reasons. I mean.
Mostly cloudy skies today with a daytime high of 46 degrees. For tonight, we drop down to 28 degrees with clouds hanging on. And then for Wednesday, topping out.
Yeah, and see, that's just it. Like, CBD works, but you have to have a quality product, and there's a lot of CBD products that are on the market that have very little actual CBD in them, and they're cut with all of these other oils that have nothing to do with pain management whatsoever. So, real CBD works. The problem is finding a product that has real CBD in it. And then you have your variations in quality based on isolate versus full spectrum and all of that other stuff. Yeah, I don't know what he endorses or whether it's a good product or not. I have no clue at all.
March, May, and July soybeans. $9.4225 on the March, May $9.55.5, July $9.6725, all unchanged. 6 1/4 better on March wheat, $5.68.5. February live cattle, $126.85 up 30, and February lean hogs, $67.67 up 177. I'm Andy Eubank. Who's your ad today? Indiana's Farm Network. The Fox Business Report brought to you by Modern
Modern Kitchen, creating your dream living spaces so you can redesign, remodel, and relax. Modern Kitchen on McKinley, east of Ashland and All Gardens.
I'm Lauren Simonetti, and this is the Fox Business Report. In the final hour of trading, stocks are mixed and leaving some steam in the middle report that penetrates Chinese food will remain in place until after the 2020 presidential election. And Delta reported a robust quarter, beating Wall Street expectations as a result of more flights and filling a higher percentage of seats. Profits rising 8% from the same quarter a year earlier, and unlike its rivals, Delta didn't get caught up in the grounding of the Boeing 737 MAX since it doesn't own any of the planes. And speaking of airlines, American says it's taking the Boeing 737 MAX out of its schedule for 2 more months, through June the 3rd, as the grounding threatens to impact the busy U.S. summer travel season. That means American will cancel nearly 20,000 flights in the first 5 months of this year.
Yeah, weight loss problems, I know. I've got a few different belts that I use, but one of the things about all of my belts is you can see the notch, where it used to be. So it's nice seeing that, because even when you feel like you've been stagnant and you feel like you haven't lost any weight in a while, or you went off the diet for a little bit and you kind of plateaued, you go back and you look at your belt and like, oh yeah, I remember when I was on this notch, or I had this line from the cloth one. That's true. That's where suspenders come in, Mike.
There's been some taco around town. Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill's menu was getting an upgrade in the morning. Remember the phrase, early bird gets the breakfast burrito? Breakfast is now served 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. daily at your favorite Mexican restaurant, Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill. Monterey's breakfast menu boasts the same high quality you'll get the rest of the day. Made fresh daily to keep you coming back week after week. Try Mexican and American breakfast classics with some new items mixed in alongside your favorite hot and cold breakfast beverages. With 3 alcoholic options to choose.
There are 44 people watching right now. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button and you subscribe or follow, depending on which platform you're on. Although you can subscribe on Twitch as well.
Join the Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill Text Club. Text TACO to 45364. You know it's what you want. Hi, I'm Mike Bernard.
No, I don't want. Facebook's pushing the whole you have to assign an organization to your page if you want to run political ads. So, did you see that Mark Hamill quit Facebook because of the political ad thing? What did I tell you, Joe? The Jedi don't believe in free speech, man.
No, that's true.
They're a religious cult of fanatics who work for a corrupt republic.
Yeah. That's what the Accords would. That's what the Soviet Accords would turn the Avengers into. They would have become the Jedi Council.
Yeah, basically.
Not basically. They would have been. They would have been. They would have been generals in the army, soldiers, and believing that they were doing good, but they were just causing more war than peace.
All I'm saying is Count Dooku was right. Remember, his primary reason for switching was that he didn't like how the Jedi had become so political and corrupt. And then when his apprentice died.
No charge. And free is the deal at Home Comfort Experts. Call 255-4600 for Home Comfort Experts about getting a free.
I don't know what you're referring to, Tim, but I hate space hippies too. Unless that's what you're calling the Jedis. Space hippies.
Call Home Comfort Experts today to get you a free furnace and the technicians you come.
They do get to turn into Force ghosts, though, so that's cool.
And with a free furnace and at the same time installed.
If you go through the right training. Or if Disney just decides you're a Force ghost now. Remember, Anakin didn't go through the right training, but Obi-Wan still let him do it. He showed him how after he died. It's in canon. It was in one of the comic books, though. It wasn't.
Was it before the Disney or after the Disney?
It's considered canon, not Legends.
So it was made by Disney?
I don't know if it was made by Disney or
made
absorbed.
by Disney that it is. If not, it's not.
Well,
That's
I'm pretty sure that they said it was canon and not Legends.
Okay.
Could be wrong. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595-953. Again, we are live streaming on YouTube and Twitch at Casey the Host on both platforms. So youtube.com/Casey the Host or twitch.tv/Casey the Host. You can also follow me on my new verified Twitter. I'm trying to get to 1,000 followers by the end of the month. I'm a little over halfway there. And I know that most of you are not Twitter people, so I realize that Twitter grows slowly for my particular audience, and that's cool. But if you happen to be on Twitter, you can follow me at RealKCH. And then, of course, Facebook is my biggest social network, and that's at Casey the Host. All right, 574-25-95-95.3. If you don't remember where to follow me on social media, just go to my website, theburningtruth.us. You can find all my sponsors there, and you can also track me down on my social media on my website, too. Make it real easy for everybody there. Do want to thank our sponsor, R&B Car Company. Again, R&B Car Company's got tons of great cars, trucks, SUVs, minivans, crossovers, you name it. And again, those are available. You can check out the inventory online at rbcarcompany.com. All right. What else do we have here? I want to play some audio here. Can you cue up my audio? This came up yesterday. Somebody had said, hey, Casey, did you hear about the effort to go ahead and allow illegal immigrants to get driver's licenses in Indiana? I said yesterday that I hadn't seen the legislation. I looked on the website. It wasn't there. It's there today. So it probably just hadn't been uploaded to the legislative website, but it is there today. This is Fox 59 with the story about Indiana lawmakers proposing once again, and it happens every legislative session, once again to allow illegal immigrants to get a driver's license in the state of Indiana.
Documented immigrants in Indiana to drive legally.
It's an idea that's been introduced several times before, but the bill never got a hearing. Fox 59's Kelly Rinke live in the newsroom tonight to show us why some lawmakers are trying again this year. Kelly?
Yeah, Dan and Beershell, the Indiana House Democratic Caucus says the bill has been introduced 7 times, and they're not sure if they will get a hearing this session, yet some representatives believe it's an important issue to take on. It's believed more than 100,000 undocumented immigrants drive on Indiana roads without a license. Now state lawmakers want to give them that privilege so they can drive legally.
This has been proven to be good for the economy. It makes our roads safer.
State Representative Chris Campbell advocated for her bill at the State House. It would provide driving cards and learner's permits to undocumented immigrants in our state.
Well, this bill was brought to me by community members. As a legislator, it's up to me to represent my community.
According to her bill, they would be required to pass a written test and driving test. It would also allow them to get car insurance. The driving cards would not allow an undocumented immigrant to vote.
We very much do not see this as a legal issue. We see this as a human rights issue. We see this as a human dignity issue.
Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears stood next to more than a dozen people today, showing their support for this legislation, including a resident with undocumented parents.
Driving in the shadows means driving with the fear of getting deported just simply because you got pulled over by a police officer for a simple traffic stop.
Advocates say families should be able to go to work or buy groceries without fear of deportation. This bill has not received much support in the past, yet Representative Campbell hopes more lawmakers will be open to the idea this time.
We represent everybody in the state, so this is an issue that affects everybody, whether you're a citizen or not.
Now, the bill was referred to the House Roads and Transportation Committee, but it does have some opposition. Former Republican State Senator Mike Delph told us, quote, driving is a privilege, not a right. When we try to extend privileges to those out of compliance with the law, we lower our historical standard. Follow the law and you can obtain a driver's license, end quote. Guys,
Kelly,
back to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can't really say it much better than what he just said. We see this as a human rights issue. Okay, shut up. It's not a human rights issue. It's not a human right to be able to drive. For somebody to say something like that, I mean, it's just so fundamentally wrong. And that's not my opinion. It just is. It's not a human rights issue. You don't have a right to drive. It is a privilege. This is, we talk about this with flying and that sort of stuff. It's a privilege, okay? It's not a right. So, no, it's not a human right to be able to drive. And when you hear people who, look, my parents are illegal aliens, right? And you know what? They shouldn't have to fear getting deported simply because they get pulled over for a traffic violation. Well, one, they're not being deported for the traffic violation. They're being deported because they are living in this country illegally because they have violated the sovereignty laws of the United States of America. That is why they are getting deported. Can you imagine any other criminal making a statement like that? You know, I'm wanted for robbing a bank, and I shouldn't have to drive afraid that I'm going to go to prison for robbing the bank simply because I get pulled over for a simple traffic violation. Could you imagine that argument being made about anything else? But they make it here. And then people saying that they should be able to go to the grocery store or to work without fear of being deported. You're not allowed to work. Not legally. So no, you shouldn't be going to work. Okay? And if you are working, whomever you work for is breaking the law. And they should probably face punishment for that as well. But this is, they're pushing some research out there now that says, well, if you give them driver's licenses, then our roads are safer. You heard that little argument on there, but tens of thousands of Americans are impacted by illegal aliens driving and causing accidents every single day. Well, every single year, I should say. That's a reality that has been ignored for a very long time. Now, this notion that issuing these licenses is somehow going to fix that, the jury is still out on that, okay? But the idea that is going to make the roads safer, there's no data that shows that conclusively. None. And there's some data that would argue against that. But at the end of the day, you know, like the former representative said, if we're at a point where we're going to sit here and lower our standards, especially when we're lowering our standards only for a certain population, okay? So only some people get that lowered standards. The rest of us still have to adhere to the higher standards. But for some of us, we're going to lower those standards and make it a little bit easier for them because, you know, it's not fair or what have you. It demeans the entire thing. Either we are a nation of laws or we are not. And we have to pick one, because if we're not a nation of laws, well, you better stop telling me to do certain things then. If we are a nation of laws, then we better start enforcing those laws universally, because that's what this country is supposed to be about, but we're not doing any of that. So, again, it's not out of committee again. We'll have to see exactly what happens. It is authored by Representative Chris Campbell. She's a noob. And then it's co-authored by Representative Earl Harris, who are on there as well. Driving Cards provides the issuance of driving cards and driving card learner's permits to residents of Indiana who cannot provide proof of identity and lawful status in the United States. Provides that cards may not be used for federal identification or any other federal purpose. Requires that an individual who holds a card and operates a motor vehicle must verify that financial responsibility on any motor vehicle that the holder operates is continuously maintained in the amounts required by law, makes conforming amendments, makes technical corrections, et cetera, et cetera. So you have to have insurance and all of that. It doesn't even require that they have additional insurance, because remember, they're a flight risk now too. That's something else that has to be factored in here. Illegal immigrants are flight risks. They can disappear into other countries and not have to pay for the damage that they cause in an accident. So maybe they should be required to have additional protections on them that other people do not have to have. Anyway, 574-25-95-95-3. That is 2595-953. Got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Your breaking news and weather station.
Experts heating specialist 5-day forecast. Actual winter weather is looking more likely by the end of this week and beyond. On Wednesday, that's still mild and mostly cloudy. Maybe a little rain condition. That's fall. Thursday, early on around 30 o'clock in the reasonable 25 Thursday afternoon. Friday, the day is cold and dry. Increasing clouds with snow is likely by Friday night.
I'm just reading something, folks. Hold on.
Saturday midday, it's all rain. High of 40. Temperatures on Sunday, over a high 26. In the ABC 57 for Colorado 7. Hey, it's Casey Hendrickson on the drive home. Weekday afternoons, 3 till 6, live and local, with my perspective and your opinion about the big issues that develop during the workday. And at 5:50 each afternoon, it's Bill O'Reilly. The best news talk lineup with Mishawaka is even better. Bill O'Reilly here with the O'Reilly Update. It's part of the ride home with Casey Hendrickson. Weekday afternoons at 5:50 on News Talk 95.3. Mishawaka's News Channel. Your breaking news and weather. What do you need done in your house? The basement could be done. The kitchen needs to be done. The deck is not the way you want it. Or maybe you just want an entirely new room added to your home. That's what we call Graver Custom Remodeling. They come to your home with vision and experience that leads to some of the finest projects done in the area. Graver is a family name that's put on every project they do. And in accordance to that, everything is paid twice. Graver Custom Remodeling works with higher-end vendors, materials, and craftsmen to complete truly custom projects. When you see a new addition in your mind, you to the Graver team, you get a sleeper in your name. Whether you're restoring a 100-year-old farmhouse, creating your ultimate living space, or taking your kitchen to the next level, make it custom, make it a family decision. Follow the Graver family and Graver Custom Remodeling. Online at gravercustomremodeling.com. Don't let winter slow you down. In an all-new Jeep 4x4 from Lockman Motors, there is no such thing as a bad road. Get $500 bonus cash on new 2020 Grand Cherokee SUVs, or $500 bonus cash on all in-stock Jeep Renegades, plus an additional $1,000 bonus cash on the 2020 Chrysler Pacifica at Lock Money Motors in Elkhart. Lock Money has the largest in-stock selection of trucks and SUVs this winter, and no one has better online reviews. Lock Money has the most 5-star Google ratings and Facebook recommendations in the area. You can shop and buy 100% online with the Lock Money Fastlane online purchase experience, or speak with one of the true professionals in person or over the phone. Lock Money Motors in Elkhart has the entire lineup of new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and ProMaster vehicles ready to serve you. See it all right now at lockmoney.com. Lock Money Motors in Elkhart, a tradition of caring since 1954. Our recipes range from the classics to everything outside the box. We are 99% gluten-free. We cater to all dietary lifestyle needs, options, whatever you may have. People are not just concerned about what they're eating, but what goes in their body. There's no artificial flavors or colors or preservatives in our food. So everything is clean and you just feel good when you eat it. It doesn't slow you down. It doesn't give you that midday energy drop. A lot of the other restaurants in the area.
All right.
Chances are you can remember your best decisions. Buying that car, having a child, getting away from the rat race, if only for a little while.
All right, let's hop back on to the chat. Sorry, I just had to read a couple of things.
Moving to a Trilogy Senior Living Community. When you make the move to a Trilogy Senior Living Community,
Daniel said they want to reward more than 100,000 people for breaking the law. Well, I mean, here's the thing. If you make life easier for people who keep breaking the law, then they're going to keep doing it. The idea is to make it uncomfortable so that way they elect to go home. That or you round them up, which the cost and the imagery of that could be, a big deal, obviously.
Avoid damages or injury. Call 811 or visit 811now.com before you do.
Hey, Despotic, thank you for the sub. I appreciate that. It is Val. It is illegal. What's up, Adam? How you doing? Bobby Lynn, thank you for following. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Once again, I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595, 95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. Powell Stirna, in October of last year, issued a brief on illegal alien driver's licenses in the United States. And they did this for Fair US, which, of course, I was in D.C. for the annual Hold Their Feet to the Fire Festival. I will be back next year as well. So he starts off, and they use sources from the National Council of State Legislatures, but they start off by saying that the proponents of granting driving privileges to illegal aliens claim that it will increase road safety. Like I said, the research on that is tenuous. Reduce hit and runs, build trust between police and foreign-born populations, and boost revenues. They also talked about it being economically great. In reality, the policy rewards illegal migrants for breaking the law by enabling them to remain unlawfully present in the country. And again, that's kind of the point. If you make it easy for them to continue to break the law, then you increase the likelihood of their continuation of that behavior. And you can argue any way that you want about it, but that is, again, that's the reality. Driving is a privilege, okay? There's a couple of things that you have to factor in here. Driving is a privilege, and these are people who are in the country illegally and are in constant law-breaking status. I mean, they're perpetually breaking the law. They're on the run from law enforcement. They are hiding from law enforcement. And even in the sanctuary jurisdictions like Cook County, where they released over 1,070 criminal illegal aliens in 2019 alone. Arguments in favor of licenses for illegals, flawed and beside the point. The proponents of the misguided policy frequently dismiss such criticism by claiming that granting licenses to illegals improves road safety, primarily because the foreign nationals are required to pass a driving test before receiving driving privileges. And we all know that as long as you pass a driving test, you're a safe driver, right, Joe? Nobody who has a driver's license is a terrible driver. They also argue that the policy is good for the economy, and the implication being that it will help them get to work, which, of course, they're not allowed to work. So it's an interesting argument. However, the ability to successfully pass a driving test does not necessarily translate into safe driving. What is more, there are good reasons to doubt that individuals who violated our immigration laws to enter the U.S. will suddenly transform into law-abiding drivers if given state licenses. Now, there's also some suggestions out there, and you can, again, think about this however you want, but there are illegal immigrants, for fear of being caught driving with a moving violation, choose not to drive. For this very same reasons that the young lady who said her parents are illegal aliens, and they if they drive, they are constantly afraid, which I guess she's admitting that they drive illegally. They're constantly afraid of being deported if they get stopped for a moving violation. Okay, you're not being deported for the moving violation. You're being deported for the much bigger crime. But beyond that, there's a lot of illegal immigrants who choose not to drive because of that reality. And so they choose to take public transportation, which is much safer. Okay? If you give driver's licenses to illegal immigrants, the likelihood of illegal immigrants driving is going to increase. All right? At least that's one theory. And therefore, you're going to have more people on the roads who do not come from the United States, do not speak the language, and may not be proficient in driving. Now, of course, they say, well, the driving test. Yeah, okay, we know how that works with Americans who pass the driving test. But like I said, it's a privilege. It's not a right. And for any state legislature or anybody to stand up and go, this is a human rights issue. No, it's not. It's not a human rights issue. Stop pretending that it is. And it's not going to be good for the economy, for people who are already breaking the laws and a drain on the economy anyway. So it doesn't make any sense. But in fact, you could argue that it would hurt public transportation. And all of the environmentalists should probably be angry about it. So we'll keep an eye on it. Although it's failed for 7 times in a row, it'll probably fail this time, but you never know. Got more coming up.
WTRC FM.
And HD1 and HD3.
Niles, South Bend, Elkhart.
All right.
Your top stories right now. Possible trial dates for President Trump. Lisa Brady, Fox News. The schedule for an impeachment trial beginning to take shape as the House prepares to pass it on. Fox's Jared Halpern live on Capitol Hill.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says the House will
Excuse me. All right, hour 2.
So there's sit there and listen. To listen carefully to the argument by both the prosecution
All
and
right.
the defense.
Let's see.
Only at that point, McConnell says, would senators consider additional testimony or documents. Democrats have pressed to hear from 4 current.
I have not talked about the Project Veritas video yet. That is coming up. Okay, that's coming up in the 4:30 hour. Okay. Well, I don't know. I might do it at 4. What do I have here? Yeah, I'll do it here because 4:30 I want to do something else. What's up, Sam? How you doing?
Democratic presidential hopefuls debating tonight in Des Moines while President Trump rallies in Milwaukee. The head of the House Foreign Affairs Committee is threatening to subpoena Secretary of State and U.S. Defense Chief to get the legal justification for the killing of Iran's top general.
I wanted Secretary Pompeo here today because I think the administration is not being straight with the country or the Congress.
Not only have the cartels taken over Mexico. Okay, so recently you had the president of Mexico refuse to label cartels as what is it, terrorists or gangs or whatever it was. I think it was terrorists. So he refused to do that. They just found another Mexican journalist murdered this week, I believe, maybe over the weekend.
America is listening to Fox News.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Oh yeah, Kyle Jurek. Yeah, I saw that Andy No posted that.
Among our top stories this afternoon will be a minimum.
How is your brain not dead after a day of multitasking like this? Who says it isn't? It's I get really tired at the end of the show. So, really tired. Typically you have people that handle this stuff for you, and I kind of do most of it. Joe obviously runs my board. But typically you'll have like 3 or 4 people kind of doing this stuff for you, and I don't have any of that. And all of the website stuff is handled by me. All of the podcasting stuff is handled by me. So, usually you have a team. Well, the recording and then splitting it into the hour, yes, but uploading it and all of that. Typically you have a staff that does that, and I don't have that yet. So, ow. Oh, my knee just popped like a son of a bitch. Damn. Ooh, that hurt. That's my bad knee, too. Arg. All right, I'm going to go grab some more coffee. I will be right back. Woo! Dershowitz is on the defense team? Nice.
Cities with the highest STD rates, with about 2,430 individual reported cases of HIV, chlamydia, gonorrhea, and syphilis combined. That's about 890 cases per 100,000 residents of the area where the stats were polled. South Bend wasn't alone for the Hoosier State. Indianapolis came in at 10th, Fort Wayne is 84th, Evansville 72nd, Lafayette was 87th. Oddly enough, despite being second in overall cases, Chicago ranks 40th for total percentage. That's Brian Davis, MNC News.
Let us classify the crime table kids. It's cold outside. Coming for a homemade stew and hot chocolate with whipped cream.
Now, your home comfort experts, heating specialists' first warning forecast.
Clouds break a bit overnight. Temperatures fall off. Still fairly mild, mostly cloudy.
Yeah, so we'll do Veritas here. We'll do impeachment at 4:30. Check knees light comes on after 30. Yeah, that's true. Although mine were bad before 30, just from military and football stuff. But they're definitely bad now. Every time I bend down, one of my kids is like, you broke, Dad. Yeah, I did.
It's happening.
That I did.
Publishers Clearinghouse will award $5,000 a week forever.
Let's
It's now at
see.
PCH.com, and you can win $5,000 a week for your life. Plus, after that, $5,000 a week for life for someone you choose. The $5,000
I'm not going to play any of the Veritas audio because I don't have a censored version of it. So
PCH.com before it's too late. That's PCH.com. Hurry, award day is almost here. Go to PCH.com now. Entries due 2/25. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited.
This is Stacy on her motorcycle.
What an incredible view!
And this is Stacy off her motorcycle.
Does this have sucralose in it?
On her motorcycle.
Oh, the wind in my hair!
Off her motorcycle.
It's pronounced etc., not etc.
On.
Woohoo! Yes!
Off.
No.
You're better on your bike. And with basic policy starting at $75 a year, quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, not going to be attainable premium for basic liability policy not available in all states.
Remember when you brought your car into that big dealership and found out it would cost a lot to get it repaired? So you brought it into an independent shop and learned you could save some money.
Ryan Saavedra is pointing out that all of these Bernie Sanders campaign folks are locking their social media accounts. Huh, I wonder why.
So they can spend more time doing the things they
I wonder why they're doing that.
less time worrying about their financial security. Call 866-482-9559 now and schedule a complimentary visit with our independent team at Howard Bailey. Take control of your financial future. Don't let hidden fees and unnecessary taxes affect your retirement. Call the Howard Bailey team at 866-482-9559.
Brooke Adams, who is the Iowa field director for Sanders, has started deleting all of her posts thanking Kyle as a top tier organizer. Good stuff.
Electrical done right. This is Casey Hendrickson on News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, your breaking news and weather station.
Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. And please put MNC at the beginning of that message. All right. So I do want to thank our sponsor. Again, this is R&B Car Company. If you are looking for a new vehicle, this is a great place for you to go. And again, they have a tremendous selection of trucks, cars, SUVs, crossovers, even minivans. And I have become a minivan devotee, at least for the wife's vehicle. The thing has been a godsend to us. Wasn't all that hot on the minivan idea for many, many years, but it's even better than our old SUV was. Just easy to get the kids in and out. But anyway, go to rbcarcompany.com. Check out their specials and promotional offers today. All right, 574-25-95-95.3. Once again, live streaming. If you want to watch the video of the show, see what happens during the commercial breaks, go to youtube.com/CaseyTheHost or twitch.tv/CaseyTheHost. And Project Veritas is struck again. They've had some teasers here for a couple of days. They released a trailer, if you will, yesterday. And today, we have Bernie Sanders campaign organizers saying all sorts of things that the Bernie camp is, well, they're embarrassed about, doing everything they can to, close things down and kind of distance themselves from this Kyle Jurek guy. And he's a field organizer with the Bernie Sanders campaign, got caught on tape. And got caught on tape saying some pretty interesting things. Now, in the midst of all of this, there is a fight between Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. So Bernie Sanders has been accused of saying that a woman couldn't become president. Now, here's this: the reason that this is so funny is that if you go back to the 1980s, we have clips of Bernie Sanders saying that a woman could be president. So we know that he's at least for a couple of decades now believed that a woman could be president of the United States. Now he is being accused of saying that Elizabeth Warren can't win this thing because a woman can't win, which we know isn't true. We know that a woman could absolutely win. Just has to be the right woman. Now, I don't think that woman is Elizabeth Warren. Now, Elizabeth Warren's people, of course, are accusing Bernie Sanders of being a sexist. So who do we believe? Do we believe Bernie Sanders that he's a sexist, or do we believe that Elizabeth Warren is a liar? Well, I've got a whole lot of evidence of Elizabeth Warren being a liar. I've also got a lot of evidence of her frivolously and falsely accusing people of sexism. So I'm going to believe Bernie on that one. Now, with that said, I know who Bernie's supporters are, okay? And Bernie's supporters tend to be the Antifa types. Bernie supporters were, at least in some instances during the Republican primaries, responsible for some of the violence that we saw at Republican events. But we also know that Bernie supporters were blamed and set up for some of that violence by Hillary Clinton's supporters who were using the Creamer Group, okay? They were the ones that were going there and starting this violence. And then the media was, of course, saying, oh, violence erupts at another Republican event or Republican rally. They were all started by Democrats. So now, the Bernie Sanders campaign organizer says bleeping cities burn if Trump gets reelected, according to the Project Veritas video. I'll go to the Daily Caller first. An organizer for the presidential campaign of independent Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders appeared to say that cities will burn if President Donald Trump gets reelected in a video that was released Tuesday by activist James O'Keefe of Project Veritas. The organizer, identified in the video as Kyle Jurek, also compared Trump's America to Nazi Germany, which is laughable, but I digress, and suggested that supporters of the president might need to be sent to re-education camps. So if Trump gets reelected, what? The person off screen asks Jurek in the video. I can't play you the video. I don't have a fully censored version of it just yet, okay? Bleeping cities will burn, Jurek responded. Do you even think that some of these, like, MAGA people could be re-educated? Now, here's the thing. Nobody who is pro-freedom uses the word re-education in any positive context. Nobody. So anytime you are proposing to re-educate somebody, you are the tyrant. Period. There is no place where a freedom-supporting, freedom-loving individual uses that terminology. It is only used in a negative if you are pro-freedom, okay? So he goes on to basically say, you know, Nazi Germany, there used to be a bunch of Nazis there after the war, and they had to spend billions of dollars re-educating their people, yada, yada, yada. Jurek also seemed to allege that Sanders' proposal to make all public colleges tuition-free could be used in part to re-educate the portions of the populace. And again, can't do that, but I digress. Like, we're probably going to have to do the same bleeping thing here, Jurek said. This is kind of what Bernie's whole bleeping, like, hey, free education. Okay, so what he's basically saying here, he's saying, obviously, you know, America's Nazi Germany under Trump, which, you know, throw away, whatever, that's what leftists believe. Then you have, because that's what you believe when you've never experienced oppression, okay? That's, like, we talked about this yesterday. If you look at people who are actually facing oppression, Hong Kong, Iran, what are they doing? They're holding up our flag in reverence. They're refusing to desecrate our flag. The people who have never experienced actual oppression, those are the people who easily will burn our flag, throw it on the ground, that sort of stuff. So they've had a comfortable lifestyle. They don't know what it's like to live a truly difficult lifestyle. Anytime, what is it, like the poorest American, I think, is 8 times wealthier than the average person in a socialist country. Think about that. And you assume it's, even that that's not 100% accurate, it's real close. According to the research anyway, the lower echelon of American society is still 8 times wealthier than the average person in a socialist country. Think about that just for a second, okay? And I always have to remind people of what actually was the cause of the collapse of the Soviet Union. So there's a couple of stories. One, there was a Russian who defected, and they actually thought that we were messing with him when we took him to a grocery store. He thought that it was a show. And he didn't believe that it was possible to have that much food. So eventually they learned that, in fact, it was the truth and that they had made the right decision to defect. But also Boris Yeltsin came to the United States, and he has said himself, the thing that made him realize that communism was wrong was he went to a grocery store in the United States of America. So he visited America, and he went out to a grocery store. He wanted to go see a grocery store. So they stopped at a random grocery store. They went to a grocery store, and he looked around, and he could not believe the amount of food that we had. And that's how he knew communism was not the right way to go. That was the last push that he needed to do what he did in the whole collapse of the Soviet Union. So anyway, so this guy's running around and he's basically saying that, America is Nazi Germany now, which is exactly what a historically ignorant person would say. Then he says that part of the free education policy for Bernie Sanders, that we're going to re-educate all these MAGA people. We're going to re-educate every single one of them, and that's what free college is about, which is what they're kind of doing with public school now anyway with your kid, right? How many times do we catch these teachers with very young kids, right? They're going out there and they're re-educating your children. And they're saying that you, as a parent, you don't know what you're doing. Let us handle it. While simultaneously complaining that parents are not involved in their kids' education. It's a really interesting dynamic that we have going with public education in the U.S. as far as the orthodoxy and the machine, if you will, is concerned, not you individual teachers in the classroom. So he also says there's a reason that Joseph Stalin had gulags, right? And actually, gulags were a lot better than what the CIA has told us that they were. Gulags were great, Joe, just so you know. Gulags were awesome. Yeah, they were amazing, according to a campaign field organizer with the Bernie Sanders campaign. So let's see. Far left campaign staffer, this is Daily Wire, for 2020 Democratic Party presidential candidate, Senator Bernie Sanders, appeared to repeatedly advocate for the use of extreme violence in an undercover video that was released on Tuesday by James O'Keefe and Project Veritas. They talk about violence against police and violence at the Democratic National Convention. And we'll talk about all of that coming up on News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Keeping you connected.
With breaking news on the radio at 95.3 and at 95.3 MMC.com. Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news
Oh,
channel.
Your breaking news and weather station.
Your home comfort experts, heating specialists, 5-day forecast.
Actual winter weather is looking more likely by the end of this week. On Wednesday, that's still the mild day. Mostly cloudy, maybe a little rain or drizzle. Temperatures fall and early on around 30, drops to mid to lower 20s by the Friday, the day is cold but dry. Clouds, snow is likely by Friday evening. This is where you can get messy.
E-cig works. You. Michiana's news channel. Would you like to talk to Casey? Okay.
School delays and closings radio station with updates at least every 15 minutes on air on those brutal winter mornings. Plus, the list is updated instantly online at 95.3MNC.com. Our first response and disaster restoration specialists. When winter weather hits, turn to us and stay connected. Weather, traffic, school delays, and closings. So there's the 95.3 Michiana's news channel.
Okay. I'll pass that on to him first.
What are you passing on to me?
Oh, the dude was complaining about
Complaining about what?
climate change.
Because that's what we're talking about.
I figured you'd give him a stare.
Yeah, generally. It's usually just my curiosity. Can you cue my audio and make sure it doesn't go out over air, please?
We ready to begin Milwaukee for the DNC. We're in 1978 with a Girl Scout. The top 3 being in Milwaukee.
I can play that, right?
You play it again?
All of the F words were beeped out. I'm going to play it and ask for forgiveness.
Pleasure working with you, Casey.
You too, bud. Looks like we're going to get Teshka on.
Check out MyHitsMichiana.com to get two $25 gift certificates to Go Style Brewery for just $35. Located in New Buffalo, Go Style Brewery serves craft beer with a full bar and restaurant. They even have
Chamomile tea. Yeah, I'm probably going to start with more CBD as well. So I appreciate the suggestion. I'll look at the chamomile. But I'm also going to probably start doing some internal CBD also. The external stuff has worked so good. There's no reason not to do it internally. I've tried some CBD oil in the past, but it was really, really low dose. And I'm not gonna worry about the dosage anymore. So let's see. Chernobyl. I'm trying to scroll through the comments. Yeah, it really does work well. I mean, it's awesome. But, I'm all about trying out new stuff. Anything that keeps me from taking pills, man. He's sick. Speaking of. It's like the perfect theme song for every Project Veritas operation. It's a sabotage every single time. I don't know how the producer does that, but he does. Finds a way. Somehow he finds a way. And then I'll probably get fired here soon, so then he won't have to work with me anymore. But anyway, I want to tell you about allnaturalcbd.org. Okay, this is the CBD lotion that I get. Now, if you forget the websites, and so many of you do, allnaturalcbd.org, you can go to my website and go to the sponsors section. That's theburningtruth.us. I've got all of my sponsors in there and links to the offers and reminders of promo codes and that sort of thing. Okay, so you always have a backup to find out where they are. Okay, but allnaturalcbd.org. This is the CBD lotion that I use, and it comes in lavender. This is real lavender, not that synthetic stuff. Or it comes in unscented, which is what I prefer, so that way the wasps don't come around and sting me in the neck when I'm riding my motorcycle like happened over the summer. Regardless of what scent you go with, it works phenomenal. I've used the 250 milligram CBD. That has worked well for me. I prefer the 500. Why not nuke the pain? That's just my philosophy on pretty much everything. Nuke it. But it works great. You know, the other night I had some shoulder pain in the middle of the night. I frequently get pains because of old neck injuries in the middle of the night that involve my neck or my shoulder and everything in between. And it usually causes me to wake up and not be able to go back to sleep. So I just roll right over, throw some on, throw some of the lotion on wherever is hurting, and a couple of minutes later, it is gone. The pain is absolutely gone. So again, you can go ahead, go to allnaturalcbd.org, use promo code KC10. That's CASEY and the number 10. Promo code KC10 to save 10%. So you get up to 500 milligrams of full spectrum CBD, which is superior, okay, to the isolate that you see out there. It's only $19.99 for the 500 milligrams. That's before the discount. And you get a 4-ounce bottle. Plus, it's a lotion, so it soothes and moisturizes your skin as well. It works on pain. So if you've got fibromyalgia, if you have arthritis, if you've just got minor aches and pains like most of us do, if you work out on a regular basis and you get sore muscles, put some of this on before you work out and some of it after your workout to alleviate that soreness. It is just an amazing product to have around for general mild pain use. And it's just, like I said, it works. It just works. There's a reason hundreds of listeners keep telling me about how amazing this product is. Go to allnaturalcbd.org. Use promo code Casey10. You can also get it locally at any local eSigWorks location, and the promo code still applies. All right. So we're talking about Project Veritas, the latest release. They're going to have more coming out. So now you're getting journalists who are, once again, because journalists just cannot help themselves. They can't help themselves with Project Veritas. They have to attack it. All Project Veritas does is your standard run-of-the-mill investigative reporting. That's it. Public settings, undercover video, get people to admit things that they wouldn't admit on camera. That's all. That's it. And you're perfectly allowed to do this. This is all legal, and they've won all of their cases, okay? And in fact, Project Veritas is in a couple of legal cases right now where they are arguing in favor of your basic journalistic practices. Any I-team in any major market who has done any good news reporting has had an undercover camera investigation. Most of you will have seen them when it comes to auto repair shops and things of that nature. They do the same thing. And then they release the unedited footage because then the media's like, well, it's deceptively edited. But they release the unedited video, which no news outlet does. But Project Veritas, they do it. Why? Because the scrutiny that comes down on them. Because they are activists. They are on the political right. Absolutely. But every time they do a story, somebody gets fired. And I'm going to assume that this Jurek guy gets fired. And here's the thing. Journalists are out there saying that, yeah, look, he's a volunteer. He's not a volunteer. He is a paid staffer with the Bernie campaign. And now there's this massive effort by Bernie staffers to erase any reference to him online. So Andy No, who is a real journalist, he actually posted that Kyle Jurek had recently been arrested. Was he arrested for, was it DUI? Yeah, okay. He was last week in Iowa. So last week in Iowa, he was charged with drunk driving, possessing drug paraphernalia, and more. He's a field organizer for the Bernie Sanders campaign. Okay. So he's got his mugshot up there, and they've released video of him. Again, we talked about some of the, some of the stuff involving the re-education of Trump supporters and that sort of thing. But the Sanders campaign Iowa field organizer Kyle Jurek was busted making the following statements in a variety of settings. Let's see. The only thing that works, the only thing that fascists understand is violence. So the only way that you can confront them is with violence. Of course, fascist means anybody who disagrees with him. Let's see. What happens if Trump is reelected? Bleeping cities burn. On if Trump supporters should be reeducated. We already went over that. On Soviet gulags, he said they're not as bad as the CIA told us they were. On what will happen if Sanders does not win the Democratic nomination. This is where I wanted to pick up. If Bernie doesn't get the nomination, or it goes to a second round at the DNC convention, bleeping Milwaukee will burn. It'll start in Milwaukee, and then when they bleeping and when the police push back on that, other cities will just bleeping, and then he makes an explosion sound and a gesture. Be ready to be in Milwaukee for the DNC convention. That's all I'm going to say. We're going to make 1978, we assume he meant 1968, look like a bleeping Girl Scout bleeping cookout. He sounds like a real winner. Remember what happened when McGovern got bleeped in Chicago in it's actually 1968. He just gets the dates wrong. Riots, bleeping, people getting beaten by the cops. The cops are going to be the ones that are getting bleeping beaten in Milwaukee. Now, keep in mind, the police in Milwaukee haven't done anything. He's just talking about beating cops in Milwaukee. Meanwhile, cops in Milwaukee are like, what? What's going on here? They're planning to do what with us now at the convention? They're going to call up the National Guard for this bleep. I promise you that. If Bernie doesn't, if they bleeping take Bernie from us, then we have nothing else left to lose. He also endorsed violence against those who use offensive free speech, whatever it takes. And that's why they're like, oh, anti-fascists are violent. It's because we're willing to go about and beyond what the law says is acceptable. Oh, wow. So, again, there's more of this. I encourage you to watch the video, all right? Now, there's a couple little snippets. You know what? I'm going to play this. Yeah, I got time. I'm going to play this little snippet. Did I save it or did I not save it? Man, I suck. All right, here we go. All right, ready? Go ahead and play it.
Be ready to be in Milwaukee for the DNC convention. We're going to make 1978 look like a
Girl Scout cookout. The cops are going to be beaten in Milwaukee.
All right, so there's him saying all the things that I just quoted him as saying, just so you know that I'm not making it up. I mean, obviously you can watch the video yourself, and we'll link to it in the daily show prep today. But like I said, just, sounds like a real winner, right? But this, this is who the Antifa types of the country have just kind of latched onto. They've latched onto Bernie. Bernie himself is a likable dude with really, really bad ideas, but a lot of his supporters are really awful people, and it kind of shows there. But now you've got journalists, air quote, journalists running around and saying that, hey, he's just a volunteer. He's not a volunteer. He's a paid staffer. And now the Bernie campaign, several people, including his head person in Iowa, are deleting all of their references to Jurek in their tweets and their posts on social media. And now the Bernie campaign is locking down their social media accounts. Isn't that interesting? I wonder why they're doing that. And, of course, the next step, because every time Project Veritas releases a video, people get fired, is that Jurek will be fired from the campaign. Tom, welcome to the program.
Hello.
Hi there.
I think that's absolutely wonderful that this guy's true colors are coming out.
Well, yeah, I mean, you want to know who these people are, right?
Right. I thought I could turn the air blue, but I do get a regular word in every once in a while, and his thing is almost, if you bleep it out, it's almost gone.
Yeah, well, I mean, you heard it. Yeah, I mean, it's almost hard to understand when you do that. And, look, I've got a salty mouth, too.
Right.
But there's a time and a place.
Not in public, not when people are recording it.
Yeah, well, he didn't know if somebody was recording him, but but still, you're having a conversation about that stuff. He's getting amped up and everything else. And no, I don't believe that Bernie Sanders wants to burn down Milwaukee if he doesn't win this thing. But that gives you the mindset of a lot of the people who are a part of his campaign. Again, these are paid people for the campaign, and radicals like that have no business being involved in these campaigns. This is an issue with local politics, most recently in Elkhart. When you start having radicals that have these types of ideas associated with political campaigns, it's concerning, even if the candidate themselves doesn't identify with those types of beliefs. The fact that they have those people around them should be enough to concern everybody.
If their group took over, he would want to be one of the first ones to be eliminated.
Yes.
They've done that in Russia, and they did that in Cuba, too.
That's just it. They don't understand the history of it. People like him they think that they're going to get leadership roles in the new regime, but they're the first ones to be eliminated because they're not easily pacified.
One thing about communism, I like to say, they can take it all. They can take everything you've got, and it still won't be enough.
That's right, 100%.
It doesn't work.
That's true. Never has. All right, Tom, appreciate it, bud.
I've been wondering about CBD.
Yeah.
I wonder if we could make a sheep dip to run old people like me through it. We'll think
You
about
just
that.
replace your plasma with it?
Yeah, everything. Just run me through a sheep dip every morning.
I'm sure they're working on it, bud.
Okay, I'll talk to you later.
All right, take care. You got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station.
I love Tom. He's great. So glad he's doing well. Had me nervous there for a while.
The Grange County Police broke up several large parties this weekend, arresting mostly teenagers that were drinking and
Okay.
Chief Deputy Tracy Harker tells WSBT the parties often cause a lot of damage and are a problem for the neighborhood. Rumspringa is a rite of passage for young people in the Amish community, an opportunity for youth to do some experimenting outside of church regulations to determine if they want to maintain the lifestyle. Tracy also said Rumspringa is not a built-in excuse, and those teens are held equally as liable as anyone else. He also says local law enforcement does do outreach with the Amish community and have no desire to interfere with tradition. Their interest is just keeping people safe. Darren Wright, MNC News.
All right.
The company says they are recalling nearly 700,000 vehicles in the U.S. because the fuel pumps can fail and cause engines to stall.
Thank you, Michael. Like I said, I was just quoting Jurek. So, and we knew that Jurek had all of those, they had everything wrong. But, he's going on and doing his whole thing. Let's see. All right, I'm going to check out the airline thing.
Wow. That sucks. Somehow, this is also going to be Donald Trump's fault that this airliner dumped gas all over an elementary school.
A split decision on Wall Street. The Dow closing up 32 points, the Nasdaq losing 23, and the S&P 500 gave back 5. America is listening to Fox News.
Your home comfort experts, heating specialists, first warning forecast.
Clouds break a bit overnight. Temperatures fall off to a low of 30. Wednesday still fairly mild, mostly cloudy, a chance of little rain or drizzle on a high of 42. Then temperatures fall through
Okay, what?
around 30, dropping into the 20s and breezy by the late afternoon. In the NBC 57 First Morning Neighborhood Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Tom Cruise.
News protected by CX Gun, your single source for personal protection. Visit them on 3rd Street in Goshen and check out their full line of quality handguns, shotguns, rifles, accessories, and more. What is this for your loved one?
911. Someone's trying to break into my home. He was right at the front door. We're notifying the authorities. I'll stay on the line with you until they arrive. What will that do?
CX Gun is your single source for personal protection. Stop in today for the largest selection of handguns, AR rifles, ammunition, accessories, and personal protection solutions. Over 2,000 guns in stock today with the best prices guaranteed. CX Gun, located in Goshen. Visit them online at cxgun.com to protect yourself and loved ones today at CX Gun.
Birdies from all over Michiana are finding the trip to Napanee to experience Room 152 to be well worth the trip. Offering a unique quality dining and architectural experience, Room's eclectic menu offers locally grown ingredients, great salads, steaks, seafood, and some very creative and delectable sushi rolls. For a culinary experience that excites the taste buds.
All right, Jake Teshka tomorrow at 4:35.
Room 152 in downtown Napanee is your best choice. Visit RUHE152.com or find us on Facebook for more info.
The Fox Business Report, powered by home comfort experts, plumbing, heating, and cooling. Keep your hardworking furnace running smooth with a tune-up today at 255-4600.
I'm Maria Bartiromo, and this is the Fox Business Report. Fox News Review followed the report that the U.S. has talks for the 2020 election, with the major averages ending mixed as the U.S. and China prepare to sign a Phase 1 trade deal tomorrow. Among the gainers today, financials and industrials, while devastating today's lab. The Dow winners today, JP Morgan Chase, United Health, Disney, the Dow
Moving
decliners.
on. Yes. That looks like a sales call anyway.
Michiana's news channel.
Is it CUDA heat?
There's a backup on the bypass. Eastbound just past 23. Alright, I'll get that out there.
This is a last chance alert. It's happening in just days. Upward Pass will award $5,000 a week forever. Enter now at PCH.com. You win $5,000 a week for your life. Plus, after that, $5,000 a week for life for someone you choose. The $5,000 a week forever prize is guaranteed to be awarded on February 28th. So don't miss your last chance to win. Enter at PCH.com or it's too late. That's PCH.com. Hurry, award day is almost here. Go to PCH.com now. No purchase necessary. Void or prohibited.
Yeah, Pete and the whole police brutality thing. That social score for South Bend PD that we just learned about is crazy.
Gosh, I could never have one of those. And we have units that started around $100 a month. It's all about the fun. Sitting around a campfire with your wife and being married with your kids, or taking that stroll on the beach, or having that private weekend that it really didn't cost you hardly any money, but you had a great time. We do any type of service warranty repair, whether it be from a small appliance repair, cabinetry work, plumbing.
You have eastbound US 20 bypass. Is that the one that?
Slide outs.
I just put it in.
Okay.
Associated with an RV that we can't.
Cool. Got a text on it too. Yay.
200 years
Assistant dude, we just call it, right?
Yeah, somebody pointed out Dateline to Catch a Predator is all this undercover stuff too.
Yeah. Michiana's News Channel.
Welcome to Silver Birch of Mishawaka, a different kind of affordable assisted living community. At Silver Birch, we
Lane closure of the Ireland overpass. All right.
55 years and older who live on a limited income.
Sure
Our
thing.
homes are designed to help you thrive. Individual apartments are move-in ready, including studio and one-bedroom options that are available now. Our goal is that everyone can afford quality of life.
Somebody sent me a text on the illegal alien driver's license thing. If it's a human right, then I shouldn't lose my license for a DUI.
And services can be provided.
It's got a point. Talking about human rights now. Is this a separate one or is this tied to it?
Yeah.
Multiple funding sources such as private pay, Medicaid waiver, and
That's connected to it.
Okay, so bypass is backed up past the 23 exit eastbound. There's also lane closures at Ireland. Because of the closure. Okay.
That's what he says.
All right.
This is Casey Hendrickson.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Once again, I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. And I do want to thank R&B Car Company. And again, they have locations South Bend and Warsaw, but they've got a great selection of cars, trucks, SUVs, crossovers, minivans. Great promotions and offers right now at their website. Again, rbcarcompany.com. We do have a backup that is starting to form, and this is on the eastbound 20 bypass. Somebody says it was between Mayflower and US 30 exits. It's about a half a mile for that backup, and apparently this is all stemming from lane closures at the Ireland overpass. So you want to avoid the bypass eastbound, and again, right around the 23 exit because it's backed up there at least a half a mile or so. So that covers several exits. We'll continue to update you on that. And if you have any additional information, please let us know. 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595-953. Breaking news. Want to thank the listeners on the live stream for showing this to me. They passed it my way. 17 children and 6 adults are now being treated for injuries after a Delta Boeing 777 dumped jet fuel on an elementary school playground during an emergency landing at LAX. The plane coming in to land at LAX reportedly dumped jet fuel on an elementary school playground this afternoon, and this is just recently happened. Let's see. Shocking video shows 2 lines of fuel coming from the Boeing 777, believed to have been operated by Delta Airlines. LA County Fire Department said 17 children, 6 adults, all complained of minor injuries, were being triaged, and we certainly hope that they'll be okay. They should be okay, barring any adverse reactions, but obviously you still hope for the best just in case. Let's see. Children Park Avenue Elementary School are said to have been the ones that were exposed. The fire service had earlier tweeted units on scene, elementary school assessing multiple patients for apparent fuel dump by aircraft on final approach to LAX. Again, this was an emergency landing, but hoping everybody is going to be okay. There's footage of it. I guess it's surveillance video of the airliner going overhead. No, I guess it wouldn't be. No, surveillance video of the school getting hit, and then there's video that was filmed up of the airliner. But again, 17 kids, 6 adults are being treated for that. Relatively breaking news. And we assume and hope that everybody will be okay. Minor injuries are only being reported at this point in time. All right, 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. Have you guys seen this video, excuse me, of this homeless guy who tried to kidnap this 6-year-old girl? On a side note, there has been a massive amount of attempted kidnappings that have been recorded and caught on camera as of late. Now, the past couple of months, we've seen several of them. There's this horrendous video where the parent and the kid were on the subway. I think it was in New York. And they fell asleep. Well, the parent fell asleep. And the guy checks the parent a couple of times and then just scoops the kid up and runs off of the train. The parent wakes up, retrieves the child. There's additional video that shows that after that video went viral, that people in this guy's neighborhood recognized him, found him. They beat the tar out of the guy. So, which, again, street justice has its place, I believe, in our society. I wish it were more appreciated, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, they beat the tar out of this guy. But there's this video of this homeless guy in California attempts to kidnap this girl, 6-year-old girl, from her mom's arms twice. Now, the first time, the uncle grabs him by the neck and pushes him away. He comes back. And at that point, the dad and the uncle take him down and hold him down until authorities get there. But now the family is blaming the homeless problem in California for this. This happened in Venice at a pizzeria. So that dude was drunk, obviously. Don't know what the motivations are, but he was yelling that God was telling me to save her. So they wrestled him down, held him to the ground until authorities got there. The girl is okay, but the family was interviewed by local news on KABC and KTLA, and they were saying, look, this homeless issue is just getting out of control in California, which of course it is getting out of control in California, and they don't really know what to do. And ironically, all of these homeless-friendly policies that the politicians keep creating in various municipalities in California, now the governor and everybody else are looking around and going, we need a task force to figure out why we have such a homeless problem in California. Gee, I wonder why. Maybe you should stop making these homeless-friendly policies. Again, I get it that there are people out there who want to help the homeless, and that's an admirable goal. There are ways of doing it that doesn't jeopardize the safety of everybody else and doesn't basically turn your city into a cesspool. And unfortunately, California has not embraced any of those ideas. California has just tried to be, compassionate for the sake of being compassionate, and it has led to nothing but negative results and an increase in homelessness as well. You got more coming up on News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Your breaking news and weather station.
All right. God, this day is moving slow. It is not moving at all. Not that I'm a rush to get out of here. More rain. Keep watching that river. I mean, the National Weather Service is basically saying it's going to get over the flood mark. It's going to happen. The question is, how much? Who? Alrighty. Trade me jobs? Yeah. A lot of people say that until they do it. When you gotta go, you gotta go. Thanks, David. Appreciate that. You can never interact with me. What's up, Danelle? Yep, the stream is back. It is back this week. All the work and no credit, yeah. Oh, Ghost Rider, yeah, that'll do it. That will do it.
Some of my best friends and favorite authors haven't written a page. True story. All ghostwriters. I'm not naming names. I'm just saying. Some of my best friends have written books and not written one page. Bet my wife wishes we had a truck now. A friend of ours has got a garage fridge that they're getting rid of for just $30. We could use another fridge. I'm like, yep, I would love to have it. How are we going to pick it up? How's that going to happen?
Silver flatware, your silver plate, your gold and silver coins, your platinum and diamonds. You do not realize that the gold and silver are a 5-year high. So now is a great time to look through your dress drawers, your closets, and all those other places.
No, Toyota's got a fuel pump issue, so they're issuing a huge recall on Lexus. Several models of Lexus from 2018, and 2019.
With the money you will receive from the gold, silver, platinum, and diamonds, you can go on a cruise, take a mini vacation, put the money in a bank and save for something special. So why not bring the unworn jewelry, unused items to H Gold Buyers and leave with cash in your pocket to spend any way you want? That's
Oh, I want to remind everybody that we're going to cover the State of the State tonight at 7 o'clock. So MNC is going to carry it.
Introducing Long John Silver's $10 C-Shares. Pick up our 6-piece fish, 9-piece chicken, 15-piece shrimp, or 6 crab cakes. Each for just $10. Long John Silver's. This year. As a district with the get breaking news and weather online on 95.3MNC.com. From Newstalk 95.3 Michigan News Channel. For breaking news.
Here we go.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595, 95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. And please put MNC at the beginning of that message. Let's see. A judge has ruled that the Trump administration was acting within its authority on family separation at the border, also known as DOI, because we know that the law required him to do what he was doing, and so he was doing it. There is what it is. Really not anything controversial about it. A federal judge has ruled that the administration of U.S. President Donald Trump is acting within its authority when it comes to separating families at the U.S.-Mexico border. They've also rescued at least several hundred kids that way who were being trafficked. But nobody likes to talk about that. But so the president won that case. The president is also going to be diverting a further $7.2 billion in Pentagon funds to the border wall. So that is going to be happening. So a couple of updates there. So it's, again, he's starting to make progress. He recently celebrated the 100th mile, which, again, 100 miles is cool and all, but it is a relatively small victory considering everything that, well, the size of the border and everything that has gone into it. But he's also been resisted at every single level with this whole thing. But, you know, at least progress is progress. And the new sections of the border wall have, without a doubt, been much more effective than the older sections of the wall have been. I also want to remind everybody that Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb is going to give his State of the State speech tonight. 95.3 MNC will carry that speech starting at 7 p.m., so right here, we'll get off the air at 6. We'll have normal programming, and then at 7 p.m. we will have Governor Holcomb giving his State of the State. He will address possible additional boosts in school funding, which has already been boosted quite a bit. I know that you would know that based on the rhetoric of the political activists, but we have gone over that. Holcomb has boosted education funding quite a bit, and it still takes up nearly half of the total state budget. So it is by far the most funded thing that we have as far as a proportion of our budget. A lot of people obviously want that to increase. Okay. We will hopefully hear from the governor on that tonight. Also, teacher pay and that sort of thing. But, a couple of other things will be addressed as well. I don't know if he's going to address the illegal immigrant driver's license thing. I doubt that he will. It may come up, but, again, something that is always proposed, rarely gets out of committee. And, well, I shouldn't say rarely. It's not out of committee and hasn't been out of committee as of yet. So we will see. But they're going to keep trying. We did cover that a little bit earlier. So Governor Holcomb's State of the State address right here on 95.3 MNC starting at 7 tonight. Certainly hope you will tune in for that. I will not be live tweeting it. I will not be able to do that tonight. Do apologize. Family obligations and all of that. Yes, the Democrats have sent over the impeachment articles. I don't know that I'm going to do a whole bunch on it, to be honest with you. We've covered it. There's not a lot of developments with this. This is simply, Nancy Pelosi doing her thing and sending it over to the Senate because she doesn't have any options, doesn't have any choice at this point. I did hear that Congressman Banks was saying that he was thinking that Pelosi was keeping these things to help Joe Biden. So the longer she drags this out, the more it helps Joe Biden. Strategically, that's a possibility, certainly. So, yeah, it's possible, without a doubt. Banks could very well be right about that. U.S. House Democrats emerged with a closed-door meeting on Tuesday morning to finally announce a much-delayed vote on sending their articles of impeachment against Trump, passed nearly a month ago without a single Republican vote, to the Senate. The announcement, which comes amid mounting pressure, from both sides of the aisle. According to CNBC, political defeat is how this is being viewed for Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats. Oh, yeah, I mean, it is. Like I said, you're going out there and you're saying that we have to save the country. Nancy Pelosi just said that a couple of days ago. This is an emergency. This is the highest priority. And then, you hold on to it and you don't actually send it over to the Senate. So the Senate will conduct the trial. As Mitch McConnell said, senators are going to have to sit there, shut up, and listen to the evidence. And we're not going to get into a political dog and pony show. That's not what's going to happen here. And they're going to have to deal with these rules. So, and again, it should be pretty similar to the rules that were happening under Bill Clinton, if not exactly the same. Now, Trump has also announced the defense team, which I believe has the famous attorney Alan Dershowitz on it, who is a Democrat, by the way. He's a liberal Democrat. So it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks when we deal with this. Like I said, there isn't a crime, so the impeachment articles don't make a lot of sense because it's supposed to be a high crime or misdemeanor, and it's none of those. So, we would expect this to not be a long, drawn-out process, but it's still going to be interesting, and we're going to cover it, obviously, every single day, just like we always do. But if you're paying attention to, like, your standard news media on this is, like, Pelosi was just bragging the other day. She's like, he's always going to be impeached even if he's not convicted. So, it hasn't hurt or tarnished Bill Clinton's reputation in any way. I doubt that it will hurt or tarnish Donald Trump's reputation in any way, especially considering Bill Clinton was actually accused of a crime and actually had massive amounts of evidence of a crime. There isn't a crime that has been accused of President Trump here. The articles of impeachment, those aren't crimes. We've got the 2 charges against them. They're not crimes. So it is what it is, He's not been impeached for even remotely serious a crime that Bill Clinton was impeached for. But it is going to get going, and it'll be interesting nonetheless to watch the coverage of it and the derangement that we will see on the cable news networks. All right, we've got a lot to discuss. We will get to the Valentine's Day modern gifts. Valentine's Day is a month away. We'll get all of that coming up on News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
I
forgot to do that right around the impress read. I forgot to do that right around the impress read.
Your top stories right now. A playground hit with jet fuel. Sabrina, Fox News reports from California, where a flight to China was apparently dumping fuel while turning around. Fox's Jessica Rosenthal, live in LA. Recently, Los Angeles County Fire Department said 17 children and 9 adults suffered minor injuries at Parkview Elementary in South Los Angeles after a passenger jet flying over the school dumped fuel out of the plane. The aviation journalist posted video of what appeared to be a Delta flight with 2 large white puffing trails behind it. People on the ground said it smelled like fuel. Fire officials said they
What? You mean a massive amount of fuel that was dumped smelled like fuel? Crazy, man.
Experienced an engine problem, which forced it to return to LAX, and the fuel release reduced the plane's weight before landing. Thanks, Jessica. The impeachment debate ramps up again as the Senate prepares to take the case. Fox's Jared Halpern, live on Capitol Hill.
The House Democrats will pass a resolution sending over articles of impeachment to the Senate tomorrow. A resolution that also names managers and prosecutors in a Senate trial. Americans would deserve a fair trial under the Constitution. That's what we're all fighting for. Maryland Democrat Jamie Raskin played a prominent role in the House impeachment inquiry. He has not hinted if he will be a manager. The trial in the Senate is
Cue my audio, please.
Tuesday. Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says the Chief Justice will swear in senators back as jurors later this week.
Thanks, Jared. President Trump holds a rally in Milwaukee tonight while six of the Democratic candidates have made the Des Moines for 3 weeks to the Iowa caucuses.
What the President of the United States
Joe Biden downplaying a Monmouth University poll that gives him a 6-point edge in Iowa. America is listening to Fox News.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station. This time, 95.3 Michiana's News Channel and 95.3 MNC.com. MNC News Center and Mother's Day afternoon's top stories. The South Bend Community Schools are planning some big changes to their
Hard to argue that. Crowd went nuts.
fewer buses running less hours and traveling fewer miles. The USPT reports that buses will also be equipped with ID scanners for students. The changes will require no additional spending using funds earmarked for a different project that did not come to fruition. New bus routes will begin January 27th with as little inconvenience as possible for South Bend families. The previous transportation director, Juan Ligas, resigned in September following a number of issues and complaints about the service. Meanwhile, the superintendent of the Union North United Schools in Lakeville has an uncertain future in the district.
Union North United's Board of Trustees voted Monday to take no action regarding a contract extension for Superintendent Mitch Mahorter. The move comes after months of debate regarding whether he forced a principal to resign. WNDU reports that Kim Shirley resigned as principal at LaVille Elementary after many years with the district. The contract extension being considered would retain Mahorter as superintendent through the 2021 through 2022 school year. Brooklyn Beatty, MNC News.
And former South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg has gained a big ally on his push for Iowa. The black mayor of Iowa's most racially diverse city has given his support to Buttigieg as Mayor Pete continues to struggle with African-American voters. Waterloo Mayor Quentin Hart says he's supporting Buttigieg in part because of his work aimed at racial economic disparity in South Bend. Hart will make his endorsement publicly on Wednesday. Buttigieg's poll numbers in Iowa have slipped slightly in recent polls, and it's believed his inability to win black support has been partially to blame. Brian Davis, MNC News.
Let us stop the ball to Prime Table Kids. Sure, it's cold outside. Coming for a homemade soup and hot chocolate with whipped cream.
Now, your home comfort experts, heating specialists, first warning forecast.
Clouds break a bit overnight. Temperatures fall off to a low of 30. Wednesday still fairly mild, mostly cloudy, a chance of a little rain or drizzle, and a high of 42. Then temperatures fall through Thursday, starting around 30, dropping into the 20s, freezing by early afternoon. In the ABC 57, first warning neighborhood weather center, I'm meteorologist Tom Wood.
If you want us, just ask for us on Alexa, Google Home, and smart speakers everywhere. News Talk 95.3 Michiana's News Channel. Your breaking news and weather station. News powered by North Colorado Spa, home of the buy 5 get 3 free Carnival Beach and ColoradoSpa.com.
The following is an attorney and not a plea actor. Tom Wilson of Wilson Law in Elkhart.
I think the job of a personal injury attorney is, and there's a number of things we do, but I think the most important thing we can do is walk the client through from day one through the last day of the process. And certainly we're going to get the best results for them, but it's also all the stuff we do leading up to that point, helping you deal with each stage of the process. I'm not a doctor. I can't do medical opinions, and I don't do medical opinions.
Yeah, apparent suicide speed.
This is what other clients have done to help them. The one thing that's forgotten in the law is we're counselors. We're here to help and give advice.
Okay, Oberos, no problem.
Just the law, but all the things we've seen in our practice, and that's part of what I really try to do is sit down and face-to-face talk to my clients about this is what you need to do to help you through this process.
Wilson Law offices in Elkhart. No gimmicks. No catchphrases.
Well, yeah, I think so. I think so, David.
Michiana's news channel.
45364 today.
This is a last chance.
I'm alright. How can I help you?
In just days, Publishers Clearinghouse will award $5,000 a week forever. Enter now at PCH.com and you can win $5,000 a week for your life.
Casey will be putting it into his daily show prep, which you can get at the burningtruth.us after the show is done.
So don't miss your last chance to win. Enter at PCH.com.
At theburningtruth.us.
Award day is almost here. Go to PCH.com now. Entries due 2/25. No purchase necessary. Void or prohibited.
This is Peter
Yeah.
on his motorcycle.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So I posted that we were going to carry the state of the state on Facebook, and then Facebook asked me to convert it to a job posting.
I feel like we covered that already. So.
Look at the ocean.
Look at this article I found about urban planning.
You're better on your bike. Progressive helps keep you honest. Get a quote in as little as 3 minutes at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. From the final phases of electric studios, from the first step to the final phase, industrial and commercial electrical done right. This is Casey
Hendrickson on News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, your breaking news and weather station.
Yeah, I'm looking at a video, and Matt Hartman, who apparently is an aeronautic journalist, I guess. I don't know. I guess that's how you say it. He got video of the airliner dumping the fuel in its approach to LAX. Again, there was an emergency landing. There's a mechanical issue, and they were doing what they could to be able to go ahead and land safely. Also, breaking news here in the last half hour or so. Massive airstrikes have been reported in Syria near the T4 airbase. And Syria is now saying that this was an Israeli attack. So Syria is blaming Israel for attacking their military. They're calling it a military airport. An Iranian cargo 747 plane flew to the Syrian base 3 times over the past 10 days, supposedly unloading shipments from Tehran. So keep an eye on that. There's a whole situation developing in Syria, which, again, they're blaming Israel. So about 40 minutes ago, the attack was reported, and 28 minutes ago, Syria says that Israel is behind the attack against the military airport. So, again, keep an eye on that just to see what happens, but apparently, aircraft from Tehran have been reported landing at that particular base in Syria over the past 10 days, unloading things. So we'll see what ends up happening. By the way, do want to congratulate LSU for winning the national title. Did you see the video? I played the video on social media, but the audio doesn't come through very well, just because of how it is, but very loud cheers for the president and first lady who were there at the college football championship game, and chants broke out of USA. So it wasn't a situation where he was booed or there was an unfriendly audience. I mean, they were very, very happy to have him there. And, of course, LSU defeated Clemson. Clemson is the early favorite to win the title in 2020, though. Those surveys came out. But the reason I wanted to talk about this is because of what happened after the game. LSU players were threatened with arrest. So you've got LSU players that have just won the national championship, Joe. What do you think they were threatened with arrest for?
In
In the locker room. In the locker room.
In the locker room?
In the locker room after the game.
I have no clue.
What do players do in the locker room after the game when they win the championship?
They celebrate.
They celebrate, right? These are college players, right? Most of these people are adults, okay?
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're all technically adults, but I'm saying 21 adults. They were smoking cigars. They were smoking cigars, and police came in and threatened to arrest them.
Huh.
Yeah. This South Park did an episode where the kids went to an anti-discrimination museum. And then outside of the anti-discrimination museum, they showed people discriminating against smokers. It was a genius bit of writing. It was several years ago. Genius bit of writing. Louisiana State University Tigers won their third national championship in 16 years Monday night. Their Heisman-winning quarterback, Joe Burrow, making it look pretty easy on the way to throwing for 463 yards, tossing 5 touchdowns, and running for another. While star running back Clyde Edwards-Hilaire, I hope I got that right. I do not follow football for the past 2 years, not because I'm protesting or anything. I literally just not have had the time. Racked up 110 yards on the ground. Okay, good for them. While the team was naturally eager to celebrate their 42-25 victory over the Clemson Tigers, police and some in the sports reporter arena weren't going to let them engage in one particular celebratory tradition. As pointed out by Twitchy, the media was quick to sound the alarm over all the championships celebrating cigar smoke. Sports Illustrated's Ross Dellinger. There is cigar smoke emanating from the LSU locker room. So what? ESPN's Heather Dinnick was particularly concerned about the smoke. It was so unbelievably smoky in the LSU locker room from the players smoking cigars, I can taste it, and no, I didn't have one. It was suffocating. Guess where you don't belong, Heather? In the locker room. You can't say that. Oh, really? Do we need to have that conversation again about how male reporters should be allowed in female athletes' locker rooms? That's a no-go, right, Joe? Even Joe made a grimacing face at me. Then why are women allowed in the men's locker rooms? How about this? Let them shower, let them get dressed, and then you talk to them. What a novel idea. This is the easiest argument to rebuff, okay? When women argue that they should be in the locker room with naked male athletes who are showering and changing their clothes, and that is reality of this, okay? When they argue that, and you have any player or any coach who is uncomfortable with the idea of having somebody in there from the press, particularly of the opposite sex, while their players are naked, and they, God forbid, they should mention that, yeah, you know what, it's not exactly the most appropriate place for you to be. Oh, the scorn and the ridicule that comes down on them. And all you have to do is go, do you allow male reporters in with female athletes? Is there a guy reporter from ESPN hanging out with the WNBA championships or the U.S. women's soccer team? And society says you could never do that. Absolutely not. That is 100% wrong. And you're right, it is 100% wrong. Just like it's wrong for women to be in a men's locker room. And if it is going to be, as the ladies have said, if it is going to be a bias that women can't go see naked men while men can't go see naked women, then how about you just don't let anybody in the locker room and let the guys have, 10 minutes of peace. How about that? Heather Dinnick running around. It was suffocating. I guarantee you weren't suffocating. You know how I know you weren't suffocating? Because you were able to tweet. And if you can't breathe, you can't tweet, Joe. After about 15 minutes, police got involved. I am not making this up. They threatened to arrest players who did not put out the cigars. which to my knowledge is not illegal to do. A smoke-filled LSU locker room got a surprise warning early Tuesday morning, according to AL.com. The police threw water on the party when telling a national champions that they could not smoke the cigars that burned for easily 15 minutes after beating Clemson. My God, Joe, a cigar burned for 15 minutes? Oh, heaven forbid. Heaven forbid. In fact, the officer announced that to the players, any smoking cigars in the locker room would be subject to arrest. Several players holding stogies laughed at the warning like it was a joke, because it sounds like one. The cop was not smiling, according to AL.com. According to the outlet, another officer also spoke with the players, saying that while he thought the smoke in the locker room wasn't a big deal, his commander said otherwise. So his commander is in an unhappy marriage and is taking it out on everybody else. In the end, this is one of those things. My wife won't let me play poker and smoke cigars, so nobody can. In the end, no one was arrested, and the players and their many diehard fans in Louisiana continued celebrating long into the night. Holy moly. What an amazing world. Honestly, what a time to be alive. And I keep going back to this. I'm going to have to post this. I saved it earlier. There's some lady who was at a rally who had like one of those signs. He goes, actually, there's a lot of things going really well. It's true. Honestly, there is. But you can't even celebrate with a cigar anymore because some reporters are going to get a little butthurt about it. We got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Your breaking news and weather station.
Your home comfort experts, heating specialist, 5-day forecast.
These female reporters want to cover men, but they don't want the men to do what men do in their normal environments. Yeah, if they're smoking weed, there wouldn't be a problem.
Michiana's news channel.
Gender fluid. Is it real taboo down there in Louisiana?
All right. Can I get your first name, please? All right. I'll try to get you on there, Abby. Don't forget to do that.
What's that?
The impress reading.
Another one?
The one that you didn't do.
I did one.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did.
You said something about not doing a read. So.
No, I didn't do the story about Valentine's Day gifts around the read.
Okay.
That's what I didn't do.
I got confused.
Got it. Got it. Not the first time I've heard that.
You'll find amazing collections at Impress Jewelry Creations. At Impress Jewelry Creations, we take the time to understand your celebration and the meaning that it has for you. And then we pair it with the perfect piece of jewelry. Although we've all come together in a new jewelry boutique, you've probably experienced our team, including Bill Martin, Dan Leonard, June, Kelly, and Jesse, and you just didn't realize that we're still together, just in a new location, conveniently located in City Plaza at 1233 East University Drive, next to Temper Grill. That's Impress Jewelry Creations, right next to Temper Grill.
Free is the absence of pain. Free means at no charge. And free is the deal at Home Comfort Experts. Call 255-4600. Comfort Experts about a free furnace with the purchase of an AC unit. At the same time,
Road beers is a real thing in Louisiana. That doesn't surprise me.
What is it?
Road beers. and Louisiana. I had an opportunity to take a job in New Orleans. My wife shot it down. New Orleans is just one of those places that you either love or you hate. There's no in between about it. It's either I've never been either. It's just that all of the people that I know that have lived there or worked there. I've had several relatives and friends who have worked there for periods of time. There's just no in between. It's either a deep, absolute love of New Orleans or a seething, raging hatred of it. It's kind of like New York, I guess. There's not a lot of in between on New York. There's a lot of in between about LA and Chicago, but you either love or hate New York.
Go to the website at theofficebarn.com to see the vast selection of office furniture and various brands like
In New York, I would for the right job at the right network.
I liked when I went there and visited. We went there for the trip and everything.
Yeah.
But I don't think I
I think I'm going to be in New York this year for some events. But I would live in New York for the right amount of money for the right network. Pause for dramatic effect. Just to move to New York for the sake of moving to New York? Not even northern New York, where it's red. No. Absolutely not. It's like there's people who hate Florida. I friggin' love Florida. You take that back. I'm not taking anything back. I am 40 years old. I will move anywhere for the right amount of cash. That's where I'm at in my life, David. For the right amount of cash, I will live anywhere. If Dubai called me tomorrow and offered me the right amount of money, I would go. Knowing full well that my daughters and my wife probably wouldn't be with me. Or if they were with me, they'd be living in an expat community with security all the time.
For breaking news and weather.
Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Once again, I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595953. The things that you miss on the live show when you're listening on the radio or the live stream, when you're not watching the video live stream. You miss the commercial breaks where I have one of my coworkers furious with me right now because I dared suggest that I would live in New York for the right amount of money for the right network.
I mean, that makes sense to me.
I am 40 years old. I will go where the cash is. I don't care where it is. Like I said, if Dubai called me tomorrow, I would go. For the right amount of money. Doesn't mean that I desire to live there, but you get to a certain point in your life and you're just like, you know what? It is all about the Benjamins, and literally nothing else matters at this point in time because, Casey, what about your family? Yeah, well, guess what makes family life a lot better? Extra
Money.
cash. Oh, money is not everything, Casey. Oh, really? New survey found out that the top wealthiest 1% have much higher satisfaction with their lives, Joe.
Really? I never would have guessed that.
Weird how that happens. Anyway, 574-25-95-95-3. To the phone lines we go. Abby, welcome to the program.
Yeah, hi, Casey.
Hi there.
A follow-up question from your segment about the basketball players.
Well, this is the football players, yeah, but...
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I
That's
apologize.
okay.
I was talking about, I thought it was females that were smoking in the locker room.
Oh, no, so it was so LSU won the football championship, right? And so the football players were in the locker room smoking a cigar. There was a female reporter who called it, quote, suffocating.
Gotcha. I apologize. I was a little mixed up.
No
But
problem.
My question is, what's the rule on campus or in the building they were in?
Yeah, that's just it. I don't know, but I doubt it's arrest worthy. So,
Well, I guess I asked just because I'm kind of a stickler about rules are for a reason, and even if we think it's dumb, we still have to respect those rules. And, you know, even if it seems like it's a bit of an overreaction, in my opinion. However, I'm just kind of the type of person that, like with my children, raising kids, I've always said, it really doesn't matter what you think of the rule. You're going to do what you're told. You know, we need to obey in our society.
And I think that's fair. I would also, and again, what the facilities policy was, I don't know. Whether or not it was actually an arrestable offense, I don't know. At least one officer thought it was all stupid. But you've got a championship celebration inside the locker room, and everybody knows what goes on inside the locker room after you win a championship. And, you know, it's like, so while I can totally see your point and concede your point even, you know, the idea that all of a sudden we're going to stop people from celebrating winning a national championship just because a couple of reporters don't like it seems a little irritating to me. But yes, generally speaking, yes, the rules would have to apply.
Correct. And I appreciate you straightening that out. I also couldn't imagine all these women in there smoking cigars anyway. Kind of a funny thought.
Yeah, it's, you know, and I don't know if she was standing outside of the locker room or she was actually inside the locker room with the players. I'm not really sure, but you know, it just kind of brought up the old thing of, okay, you shouldn't be in the locker room anyway. That's their space. Correct. No journalist should be in there. No reporter should be in there. And, you know, look,
I'm sure so live.
Well, who knows, Abby? Who knows? All right. I appreciate it. You take care.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you. Hey, look, I mean, here's, you know, you become a sports reporter, right? And you want to hang out with the guys and you want to cover men in a male atmosphere that is free from female influence. Look, there's three places where men can get away, or traditionally could get away from female interference, right? Those three things are war, sports locker rooms, and the bathroom. By the way, new survey came out, Joe. I know you're going to be shocked by this. Predominantly, men are in the bathroom longer as an escape. Yeah, duh. So, I mean, those are the three places that predominantly in our society, men can exist as men without influence from the fairer sex, okay? So when you're a female and you become a reporter and you want to cover men in a male environment, stop complaining when they actually act like men. Just let them be men, okay? Now, when they leave that environment, all of the restrictions of societal standards and decorum and all of that stuff in chivalry should all come in, okay? That 100%. But they've got their space. You wanted to cover them in their space, and now you're pitching a fit that they're acting like men in a men's space, which you wanted to be a part of. So just stop. That's all you got to do. Just stop. Now, the tweet should have been, hey, they're celebrating a national championship win, and there is cigar smoke everywhere. That's it. That's all you got to say. You don't got to throw in your little stupid jive thing and have this whole, no, how dare they smoke a cigar? Shame on them. But, go figure. All right, 574-25-95-95-3. See, because I was even polite to the last caller, I have people telling me that they're revoking my man card. It ain't possible. The stuff that I've done, my man card is solidified in platinum. It cannot be revoked. Sorry, just can't happen. All right, 574-25-95-95-3. That is 2595953. One of the other stories from earlier today, and I didn't get an opportunity to tell you about it this time around, is that Judicial Watch has gotten access to 127 pages of records from the South Bend Police Department, which shows that the police department offered diversity training in 2017, which includes cultural competence ratings for personnel. The CPI, or Cumulative Perceptual Index, measures an officer's, quote, cultural competence level. And they have, basically this is, the idea behind the CPI is that you're not born with any bigotry or biases. You learn them. And we need to measure what biases you have, how severe those biases are, and then we're going to give you a rating, kind of like China has a social score for all of their citizens when you don't fall in line enough. That's essentially what this is. It further goes on to say that it operates under the premise that black lives do matter, but not more or less than any other lives, which of course is racist on its own. But that law enforcement isn't there yet. They don't embrace that, which of course is preposterous. But it's just one of those laughable things. This all happened under Mayor Pete. We're just learning about it through the Access to Public Records Act request from Judicial Watch. And it's the idea that we have some training program in the South Bend Police Department that rates officers on their level of bigotry for various demographics. They even had some new words in here, like different types of classes of prejudice, like languageism and sizeism. Do you think anybody in, I don't know, New York City gets lectured on their languageism from somebody from Kentucky or Alabama? Because they make fun of those people all the time. Do you think they ever get lectured on that, Joe?
Probably not.
I'm going to bet no. I am going to bet no. People in New York and Los Angeles and even in Chicago to a lesser extent. Chicago's a little bit more polite because of the Midwestern region, but
isn't Kentucky more educated than New York anyway?
Kentucky has a higher percentage of people who go beyond the 9th grade than New York does. 100%. I'm going to throw that in their face every time now. It's a true story. We went over that. Was it last week? Or was it the week before?
I think it was before you went on break.
Was it before I went on break? Yeah, true story, though. Kentucky is more educated than California and more educated than New York. A higher percentage of population goes beyond the 9th grade in Kentucky than in California or New York. And yet, people in California and New York constantly make fun of people for being dolts in Kentucky. Constantly. Isn't that interesting? Anyway, we got more coming up, including another bit of information that was released by Judicial Watch today that involves Imran Awan. Told you that story's not over yet. Isn't that interesting? Got more coming up. 95.3 MNC.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station. MNC. News Talk 95.3 Michiana.
What does they call it? Was named Karen.
Moving on, I see.
Yes.
Michiana's news channel.
Alright, so
no, that's per capita. That's per capita.
It's the rate.
Yeah. Yes, that per. Yeah,
the rate.
It is the rate of people who go past is higher. Yeah. Yes. Yep. He's like, what's the population?
Hence the word rate that I said multiple times.
Per capita.
Rate.
No shit.
No, stalling does not cause crashes. That is fake news. Fake news.
By mail. We're gonna mail them. So.
No, he means MALE.
That makes no sense.
No, it doesn't.
Michiana's news channel.
Stocks closing well off their highs as investors pull back after a report that the U.S. will keep tariffs on China through the 2020 election. Now, while this wasn't new information, it comes ahead of the all-important.
Okay, I'll pass that on to him.
Traders say any negative headlines before the ink is dry on that deal will make investors jittery, and it did.
That makes no sense, but okay.
She can't say jittery. Sounds racist.
How?
Just sounds racist. I didn't say that. Anything that sounds racist is racist. That's the new standard, man. It's not me. I don't make the rules, Joe.
Well,
I just play by them.
I don't think that's a rule.
You don't think that's all.
And I'm a millennial, so I should know them.
What's next? He's going to explain what the garage is really for.
Put your cars in it.
Lies! The car goes outside with the hail like the rest of us.
The major averages ending mixed as big banks kicked off fourth quarter earnings season with mostly strong results and as investors await the signing of the Phase 1 U.S.-China trade deal. Financial stocks were among the best performers in the S&P 500 today, rising after J.P. Morgan Chase and Citigroup reported some strong results. The Dow rising 33 points, the Nasdaq down 23, S&P 500 down 5. And shares of FedEx spiking today. This after Amazon notified its third-party sellers that they could once again use FedEx's ground network to ship orders placed under Amazon Prime membership nearly a month after imposing a ban on the service. Now, the move was supposedly because FedEx wasn't delivering on time. Amazon said FedEx is now getting orders delivered on time and sent a letter to sellers telling them they cannot.
God, Alex talks about revoking my man card and the entire chat disappears and goes quiet. Can't believe he said that.
It's happening in just days. Publishers Clearinghouse will award $5,000 a week forever. Enter now at PCH.com and you can win $5,000 a week for your life. Plus, after that, $5,000 a week for life for someone you choose. The $5,000 a week forever.
Yeah, most of my people don't watch during the show.
So don't miss your last chance.
They watch later in the day. And most of them don't even watch at all. Most of them just listen.
Award day is almost here. Go to PCH.com now. Entries due 2/25. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited.
Let's see.
There's been some taco around town. Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill's menu was getting an upgrade. In the morning. Remember the phrase, early bird gets the breakfast burrito? Breakfast is now served 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. daily at your favorite Mexican restaurant, Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill. Monterey's breakfast menu boasts the same high quality you'll get the rest of the day. Made fresh daily to keep you coming back week after week. Try Mexican and American breakfast classics with some new items mixed in alongside your favorite hot and cold breakfast.
Did you take care of it, Alex?
Free alcoholic options to choose from too. The burritos and skillets, the combos and omelets, Monterey's new breakfast is something you need to experience. And the best part is you can dine in or order to go on your way to work and they'll make it the way you need it. Off McKinley Avenue, just past Division Street and online at MontereyMexican.com. Join the Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill Text Club. Text TACO to 45364. You know it's what you want. Your home is more than just four walls and a roof. It's where your family feels safest, where your children will grow up, and where memories are made. Unfortunately, accidents can happen. When they do, it can hit close to home, and you'll need someone that can be there for you. That's where Mishawaka Family Insurance comes in. They're built for you. When you call for a quote, immediately you can tell that you're talking to a real person on the phone. And after a brief conversation, you can tell that they actually care about what's important to you and what you need to protect it. We all know we need to be insured, but just buying a plan online doesn't always work out when it comes time to make the claim. Take a few minutes and talk to our friends at Mishawaka Family Insurance.
Thank you, Bert. Appreciate that. I blocked them from Restream, Alex. I don't know if it transfers over, though. Not sure.
Insurance from Mishawaka Family Insurance. You'll notice the difference. Call today at 574-231-1500. That number again, 574-231-1500.
Hello, I'm Dennis with H&H Gold Buyers in downtown Elkhart, and I want to buy your old gold jewelry, your silver flatware, your silver plate, your gold and silver coins, your platinum and diamonds. You may not realize it, but gold and silver are
That's funny. That's good stuff.
all those other places you've been keeping things to pass on someday to your children. Because shocking as it may seem to you, they really don't want your old gold, jewelry, or silver to wear or use. And with the money you will receive,
That's like a perfect way to phrase it.
you can go on a cruise, take a mini vacation, or put the money in a bank to save for something special. So why not bring your unworn jewelry, unused items to H&H Gold Buyers and leave with cash in your pocket to spend any way you want. That's H&H Gold Buyers at 221 North Main Street across from McDonald's in beautiful downtown Elkhart.
From the Final Phase Electric Studios, from the first step to the final.
All right, here we go.
This is Casey Hendrickson.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595. 95.3. That is 2595953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. Got a couple of minutes. Why don't we go over some classic Valentine's Day gifts with a modern twist? We are a month away from the day. And ladies, we are 2 months away from the reciprocal holiday for your guy. Valentine's Day is just around the corner. And while it seems as though 2020 might be the year for a gift that's off the wall and crazy enough to keep up with the political landscape, classic gifts are actually back in style. Let's see. When we think of February 14th, we usually fall back on these Valentine's Day classics. A Valentine's Day card, okay, which is lame. You shouldn't do that. Chocolates and roses, that's okay. Jewelry, go to Impress Jewelry Creations. You can absolutely get an amazing gift for Valentine's Day there. Cologne or perfume. Do people like getting cologne and perfume? Is that like a gift? Is that a thing? I don't think you give that anymore, do you?
You can. It's like if the person's like, yeah, like if they don't, like myself, for example, I don't like wear it on a regular occasion.
Yeah,
like,
neither do I, but
and I'm like, hey, yeah,
I naturally smell good.
If you like this scent and you would like to have it on me, buy it for me and I'll wear it whenever I go out.
Well, most people have one that they wear. They find that one, that's it. That's what they wear.
Right.
They replenish that bottle when it's gone. And so they generally just do that themselves. It's usually not a gift anymore.
And a lot of people are like, hey, I thought of you when I saw this. So
Yeah.
it's an act of service type gift.
So the update on the cards is a pop-up card. They have like these little roses that pop up. Look, cards are lame. Don't ever buy them for anybody. Okay? Unless we're talking about somebody who has just had a tragedy or a loss or something like that, then they're appropriate. But as far as a gift is concerned, a card is lame. Don't do it. You suck if you do. Number 2, rose and candy gift baskets. So it's a gift basket that comes with really nice candies, including like candied strawberries and things like that. And then also roses. And it's all like delivered in a nice little package. I actually like that. It's under $100. It's got like carameled apples, chocolates, red roses. It seems pretty cool. It's almost like a crafty handmade thing.
Okay.
But it's under $100, so it's reasonable for Valentine's Day present. That's pretty cool. There's a specific company that makes them. I'll link to all of this in the daily show prep. French macaroons, you can get those from Costco. Pocket watch. Pocket watch is always a good gift for a guy.
Get them engraved.
Absolutely, 100%. And you know who does custom engraving of that stuff? Impress Jewelry Creations. They do amazing custom engraves. We talked about the men's belts earlier, too.
Yes.
Of course, they've got amazing jewelry for all occasions. Perfume and cologne. I don't know.
I see the appeal of it. I get it.
Okay. I don't know if this is just because of my own interpretation of this. I grew up on movies where the guy would get his mistress the perfume that he wanted her to wear. And so it just seems like a really seedy sort of a thing to do.
That I get where you're coming from.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, I don't know. For me, I don't like it. What do you think, though? Send me a text message. Let me know. Is cologne or perfume a good gift? I'm not sure about it. Right there, jewelry is the best thing if you ask me. Unless, of course, you're not married. Because you know my policy about giving people jewelry when you're not married. They should be a relative. All right, we got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
We're on
Pop-up cards. Friggin' lame.
Yes, don't get them a card. Get them a pop-up card.
It's a rose that comes out at them. No, okay, a pop-up card. Okay, there are inappropriate pop-up cards, and there are pop-up cards where the rose isn't what comes out. Other things come out, and that would be funny.
Yeah.
Because at least there's some humor.
That and
Did you like my Costco macaroons comment? Because they do. They've got them in bulk on the end aisle right there by the cheese. Get your macaroons at Costco.
Costco's my favorite.
What's that?
It's what is it? Patrick Warburton? Yeah. Yeah. He does a surprising amount of voice acting work.
Yeah.
He played Kronk in Emperor's New Groove.
Okay.
And there's this whole thing where it's like, Cusco, the poison for Cusco. Cusco's poison. So when you said Costco, it kind of sounded like
Got it.
Costco.
Take care, Comet.
Costco's macaroons. Macaroons from Costco. The
Okay.
Costco's that are made. The macaroons that are made from Costco. It's this whole thing.
Take care, Sam. Appreciate it. Frank says the birthday cards are cool because they have money in them.
When's the
Yeah.
last time you got money in a birthday
I am old enough.
I haven't got money in a birthday card since I was like 10.
I am old enough to remember birthday cards that had no cash. If they come, okay, a card that comes with a gift inside of it, those don't count as a card. That counts, it's the gift inside of it. The card is wrapping at that point. And I'm okay with the wrapping.
I've always been a fan of this thing. Like, here's $20.
Yeah,
Blah,
later.
blah, blah.
Yeah, later. Like, my daughter wanted to get her friend.
It's cheaper.
Yeah. And then you're not supporting a stupid industry, which the greeting card industry
Make your own card if you want to get the card.
It's so dumb. Although I do hear that there's this like conservative greeting card company now, and they're supposed to have like really funny comedic cards, I guess, but I haven't looked at any of them. I'm just not into cards, nor is pretty much any other man. The women love the damn things. I don't know why. They just do. Nice. That was funny.
Oh my god. That's
Did you see the clip? I guess like one of the bachelors was like an astronomer, and so the girl came up to introduce. They're doing their first introductions and whatnot, and she asked him what he did. And he says, "I'm an astronomer." And she goes, "Oh, I'm a Virgo." Like, you're not getting a rose. Later. Oh my god.
That's no.
You're in charge of hiring,
Yeah, no,
and
he's a
Indeed
scientist.
has solutions like online skills tests, which let candidates show that they're the right hire. Indeed will also
I don't need a I don't need a genius to be my significant other, but I don't want a dolt. Like, you don't have to be a genius, but you had better be able to at least basically function.
You can be interested in that stuff, but that's not how you should play. Unless like you're doing it for comedic effect. Like,
yeah, she wasn't.
She was like, no, generally. No one cares.
Chat screen died, huh? Mine seems like it died a couple of times on me too, and then I like reset it and it seemed to work better. I don't know what the deal is. It did it yesterday right about this time.
Well, luckily there's like 2 minutes before the show's over.
What? At least until further notice. What did I just say?
I don't even know. All I heard was pipes.
No, I didn't say anything about pipes. That was on the commercial. You said the show ends in 2 minutes. I said at least until further notice.
Is it ever gonna like fucking snow? Like,
dude, you know what? I am not even up. First of all, the Farmer's Almanac was totally wrong about this year, and I am not sad about it at all.
They're usually not this wrong, are they?
No, Farmer's Almanac's usually really accurate. They were way off this year, but we had an extra bad winter last year, so
I guess so.
It was cold.
Oh, yeah, it was cold enough that because the
Well, yeah, no, the cold was bad last year, not the snow.
Oh, it was cold enough that essential personnel couldn't come in, and it was you, me, and John.
Right, yes.
My Twitter name for a long time was Joe Essential Personnel, my last name.
At the risk of jeopardizing Joe's life, Joe just said, is it ever going to friggin' snow? And I think most of us, I like the snow, don't get me wrong.
I'm just like...
But I have been thrilled with this winter so far.
Is it going to?
I'm
or like,
sure
are
it
we
will.
going to be like have this really mild winter and then a really crappy summer?
Well, yeah, who knows about the summer, I guess. We're probably going to deal with some extra mosquitoes and things like that next year. But
yeah.
So far, I'm really happy with the winter. And we had an extra cold winter last year.
Yeah, we did.
It wasn't an extra snowy winter as far as accumulation and things. I don't know what the totals were. I'm just talking about
cold.
I'm just talking about not being able to move. But it was extra cold all winter last winter. So the Farmer's Almanac so far this year has been way off. But who knows? I mean, it might very well be July and it could be a blizzard outside. You never. The poles are shifting. The poles are shifting.
The magnetic poles are shifting.
Yes, but we're just going to say the poles are shifting. Here's Bill O'Reilly with the O'Reilly Update. Have a good night.
Oh, that's against Uber policy.
He cannot have a gun.
That's Uber. That's
But
against
see,
Uber
okay,
policy.
but was he justified in pulling the gun?
I don't know.
We're watching a video. An Uber driver got caught on surveillance pulling a gun on a passenger. And Uber does not allow the drivers to carry their firearm, remember?
Does Lyft? Or did Lyft change
I
their
don't
policy
know
too?
if Lyft does. He's the Uber driver.
The Uber driver.
So it must have been a self-defense thing.
I guess so.
Good for him for carrying, I assume. Because remember when that Uber driver prevented that mass shooting in Chicago?
Yeah.
It was like 2 weeks after that Uber banned all of their drivers from having a gun. And I came on and I was like, how stupid can you be? You literally just have one of your drivers save dozens of people's lives, and then you've now banned it.
Most people are miserable by age 47, according to a new study apparently.
Well, okay, you give them an extra couple of years to get totally miserable. But yeah, totally. I would say 37, but
what if you had like $1 billion more disposable?
oh no, then I would have to be trying to be miserable. I mean, you can be generally dissatisfied and relatively unhappy while you're rich, but as far as miserable,
You're not gonna be miserable.
you've got to try and be miserable if you're a millionaire. Sorry, that takes effort on your part. It's like Daniel Tosh said. People say that money can't buy happiness, but money can buy a jet ski. Have you ever seen anybody on a jet ski who's not smiling?
Or one of those water jetpack things.
Oh, dude, totally. Although I can see getting tired of that pretty quick.
Yeah, because you can't. But once you get like used to it,
I still think you get tired of it because you're just kind of sitting there. Although some people can do tricks on those things.
yeah, the people who are like trained in them. So like, yeah, how's that like? It's like surfing. You're not gonna have a good time surfing unless you know how to surf.
That's true.
Like it's good. It's like the same concept.
Just 3 weeks before the office closed.
Oh, it snowed in July before. It's totally happened. Yep. Let's see. Frank says if Joe wants snow, he needs to come here to Wisconsin and Minnesota. Woke up the other day in Minnesota and it was -6.
I believe that.
It's just that, so the Farmer's Almanac said that the northern Midwest, which, was, but they were saying from the northern Midwest all the way to the East Coast, northern East Coast, was supposed to be extra, extra snowy and cold and shitty this year.
We've got a lot of precipitation.
We have had a ton of rain, but we
hasn't-
have,
It hasn't been cold enough.
we had that one big snowstorm early,
Yeah.
which
Didn't
seemed to indicate that the Farmer's Almanac was going to be right. 'Cause that was
longer than 2 days.
no, it was here for
Because it
two
got
because
too
it warmed up. It was like 40 some odd degrees the next day.
It got real warm real fast.
But it dumped an ass ton of snow on us. And then we had like one other snowy day. We haven't had like jack. And I'm good with it. Don't get me wrong.
I don't mind it.
I took the motorcycle out in December.
I believe that. It's just
I rode the motorcycle in December in
like,
effing Indiana.
Is it gonna like be a really shitty hot summer or
I don't know.
what's the deal?
There's the only thing that makes the summers god awful here for me is the damn mosquitoes. That's because you guys don't know what heat is. So nothing gets hot here to me.
Yeah.
I'm from the desert. But the mosquitoes. It's damn mosquitoes, man. Friggin' hate the mosquitoes. I might invest in one of those electronic mosquito repellents this year that you wear on your body.
The one that like emits a signal. Is that what it does?
No, because those only work temporarily. No, this is
It's like an off-brand thing.
this is actually what they use in military units. So it clips to your body, and it's just got a beam of death around you. It's awesome. Just, they stay the hell away from you.
How?
Man trapped in gym overnight. Was that tied to the 24-hour fitness story? But 24-hour fitness is open 24 hours.
Yeah.
We don't even have a 24-hour fitness here. And where I'm from, they own the gym market. Like, you can't get away from it.
I thought there was one in No, I think it just says 24 hour fitness.
Oh yeah, no, 24-hour fitness is a thing.
Like there are 24-hour gyms exist.
Mosquito traps with the fans in them. I don't know if those work. I'm not sure. He says it works. All right, cool. All right. So, any questions? Any comments before I bounce on out of here? I didn't do the Judicial Watch thing, so I'll just save it for tomorrow.
Yeah.
That'll be my teaser. Oh God!
Oh man, what a surprise! The flu shot was using the wrong strain for vaccine.
The flu shot doesn't perfectly. They have to throw in there perfectly. It doesn't perfectly match it. It never does. The flu shot is a giant rip, dude.
I've seen this thousands of times. The same project. People take I took a picture of myself every day.
And you notice how it's always like 20 years? Like even that guy who did it with his daughter, watched his daughter grow up for like 20 years. 20 years ago, was there this like thing that happened that this was promoted as a thing to do? Because they're always like 20 years.
Oh. So like I've seen it done a lot. So I started watching Jack Ryan. Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan.
Yeah, I watched I think most of the first season. I just haven't. I was watching it with Shanna, and then she kind of bounced out, so I never really finished it.
Bad.
It's okay.
Entertaining.
It could be more, but it's not a bad show, and it's one if you don't have anything to watch, you watch it and be okay with it.
I'm entertained by it, which is what they were going for. I'm not like, oh, this is such a good show. I like the accuracy that they do.
Yeah.
Which is always a plus. My favorite scene is when the agent hands Jack, and he's like, all right, so here's how you work the gun, and Jack's like, I know how to use that gun.
Mm-hmm. Brian Mast. He posted it in live chat. Okay, I'll take a look at it. I will take a look. Oh, he's the dude that doesn't have legs. That's right. Okay.
Oh, is that the dude, the VA dude? He's arguing with the VA? Or...
No. Brian Mast is a representative who's a double amputee. War and terror veteran. Yeah, dude, don't get me started on flu shots and stuff like that. I stopped getting them because they were making me sick, and then of course now they say we don't use any live strain anymore, so it doesn't make you sick. I'm like, whatever. If it does it 3 years in a row, which is what it did with me, and the years that I didn't get the flu shot, I didn't get the flu.
Just don't be an idiot.
That's I mean, now if you are a small kid or an elderly person. I don't have any qualms about you getting a flu shot. For me, I'm not doing it. I don't have any issues with anybody else doing it. It's just that I always am miserable when I get one. I don't really care about needles. The only thing that I don't like needles with is I don't like my blood drawn because for some reason I have a thing about this spot here. And I don't know why. I don't know where it comes from. It doesn't hurt. It's just, I don't know, it makes me squeamish.
And it's not good with needles in general. Except like tattoo needles, but those don't like actually pierce your skin.
That's only 3 or 4 needles.
It's a different. It's like voluntary, and so you want like terrifying.
Getting a shot isn't voluntary.
No, it's not, Casey. When it's
Oh
like
my
this
God.
big and it goes in your arm this much, it's like, no, I'm good. I'd rather die. Thank you.
Dude, you haven't lived until you've seen one of the thick gauge needles that goes in your ass.
Yeah, I have.
Those things suck. Do you remember that, God, what was it, like LA Works hair gel? Remember that? LA Works, like hair gel? It was really popular like, when we were kids. It's a gel.
Okay.
Like an actual gel, and it's got little bubbles and sparkles and crap in it, and they had all these like neon colors. I was injected with something that looked exactly like that. Yeah. I had this god-awful bacterial infection when I was a kid. And the thing that they stuck in my ass was, I swear, and I know that I'm misremembering it, I swear to God, it was this long. And it was thicker than the lead in a pencil.
Like a pencil.
Like a pencil. You know, you cut the lead out. It was thicker than that. I was stabbed in the ass with that thing, and I watched them just pump this friggin' gel goop in me, and it hurt so bad. That is the worst shot that I have ever had. God, that sucked. It worked though. Bacterial infection went away.
Or for immediate assistance with your reputation, call 800-724-40.
None of the smallpox took, huh?
Hemp is a Michigan company's new cash crop.
Huh. Well, there you go. Well,
almost like
Eau Claire has something to look for.
It's incredibly profitable.
No. Okay, so I have for a couple of years now wanted to make soap.
Soap?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know, man. Just something about it seems therapeutic. I don't know. Just seems therapeutic. Don't know why. And I'm like, right here. I don't think I'm gonna make any money at it. I just, soap. Bars of soap. Like I want to make like beer soap, like whiskey soap. Soap. I might even make a soap out of motor oil. My oils could be like motor oil instead of regular oil. I can try that as a YouTube experiment. Making man soap with 10W30.
It's like
I don't know, man. Just want to make like beer soap.
Like the dude who he just started extracting gold from computer parts to see how much gold he can get.
Oh yeah, I remember that guy. Whatever. Okay. Like paracording is. I'm gonna start paracording again because it is therapeutic for me. But I don't know, man. There's something about. I just want to make soap.
Ready when you are.
All right. Casey Hendrickson here. We're going to cover the governor's State of the State address and much more. Wednesday, 3 to 6 on 95.3 MNC. Couldn't remember what day it was.
Breathalyzer tests are under investigation.
What? Uh-oh. What is going on in Michigan? Dude, I have all sorts of ideas on the smells. I really do want to make a whiskey soap, though. I mean, beer soap.
Much more.
I've
Wednesday,
used
3 to
beer
6
soap
on
in the past.
95.3
Love beer soap. But yeah, I want to make a whiskey soap. Just like soap. I don't know why. It's just something that's always interested me. Well, I get it. I'm not gonna say it doesn't seem weird. Not dainty little chick soaps. Like he's talking about campfire and gunpowder. Totally.
What's that company? They have a YouTube ad that's always running, and their soap, and he's like, his whole thing's about mayonnaise.
Oh yeah. I did consider ordering some bars from them, but it was like $30 for like 2 bars.
I'm sure they're really expensive. Yeah, it's the same dude who does the William Painter memes. He's the same dude.
I've seen it. And the thing is like, I get that handmade and artisan soap that you can charge a pretty penny for it, but it doesn't cost that much to make it. So
I'm currently the current body wash is the Harry's body wash.
Yeah, how do you like that? Is it good? I usually buy the cheapest crap, and then occasionally I'll buy myself a nice bar of soap.
I don't like bar soap all that much.